State playoffs here at River Ridge. Last week we were with you, of course, as we interrupted the holiday of lights, and again, unfortunately for those that are enjoying the atmosphere at Veterans Park tonight, we do apologize for the interruption, but once again we are contractually obligated to bring you high school football, and here we are, folks, into December for the first time in quite some time, and we do appreciate you guys being with us. We have got a doozy of a matchup here tonight. Is the number 1 Lee County Trojans have made the trip north from Leesburg, Georgia, just north of Albany, Georgia, and they are here tonight in Woodstock taking on a River Ridge program that remains undefeated and continues to make history each and every week. By the flip of a coin, the River Ridge Knights are at home again, and if they are lucky enough to get past tonight's matchup, they'll be home again next week for the semifinals. But Lee County making their 4th straight quarterfinal appearance. They are 15-1 in the playoffs since 2017. Now, this is the first meeting between these two schools, but again, a lot on the line here tonight with a trip to the semifinals next week for the winner of this matchup. An interesting bracket when you look across it. There are a lot of traditional powers such as Buford and Valdosta, and of course the guys are going to talk about this on the other side of a 2-minute break as we transition into the Cherokee Canton Children's Hospital pregame show, and looking forward to that there. A little bit warmer than it was last week. Again, temperatures, as we know, were close to freezing. They were in the low 40s, a little bit of rain, a little bit of wind, but not so much tonight. Things are a little bit more pleasant. Things are calm. Temperatures, again, in the 50s or so, so a little bit warmer, a little bit calmer, and, again, a little drier this week, so we are looking forward to it. Got a great matchup here for you tonight. We appreciate you guys being with us. 2 minutes, our very own Golden Boy, Will Cooper, who will have the call of tonight's game, will join us alongside touchdown Von Brown for the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Cherokee pregame show. Ronnie Cooper with us as well. Again, I'm Dave Garner. 2 minutes, and then back with more. You're listening to the Cherokee County Game of the Week live and right here and only on North Georgia's 101.1 FM WLJA.
Welcome to Perk Up. What can I get you?
Can I have a large, skinny, non-fat macchiato with
My 15-year-old has the taste buds of a middle-aged woman, but she's no adult. That's why we took her to Children's for her scoliosis. Their pediatric orthopedic program is nationally ranked. Their specialists understand growing bones and how to treat them. My kid ordering an adult-style coffee? Okay. Going to an adult doctor? Not so much.
Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Orthopedics. Where you take them matters. Learn more at choa.org/ortho.
Game on! Football's back, and we're celebrating at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County. Get game-winning offers right now. Drive the best-selling 2020 Nissan Rogue, or check out the redesigned 2020 Sentra. If you try it, you'll buy it. They're that good, fun, and affordable. Catch the savings now before they're gone. Only at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County, across from the Holly Springs Walmart. Online at NissanNorthAtlanta.com. Remember, if it doesn't say Sutherland, you paid too much.
Hi, I'm Dave Garner.
And I'm Janet Mueller.
And we're your local Woodman Life representatives.
You know, Dave, it must be tough announcing games and still providing financial security through life insurance, retirement, and member benefits.
Well, Janet, it's an honor, but it means that I have a great partner when it comes to protecting families from financial hardship.
So come see us.
Or call us at 706-273-9347.
Or 770-894-7898.
And find out how Woodman Life can help you leave memories, not expenses. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
As an athlete, you put it all on the line each and every day. Training, skill, and dedication. It's with these same characteristics that Pinnacle Orthopedics puts it all on the line for you, ensuring that you continue to play the game you love. With 5 locations and 16 physicians and surgeons, Pinnacle Orthopedics is the team physician for Kennesaw State University, as well as for many other schools and teams. Using only the latest technologies, Pinnacle Orthopedics is dedicated to keeping you at the top of your game.
Hello and welcome to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Cherokee pregame show. I am your host, Will Cooper, joined alongside for the first time in the playoffs. He's back, everyone. Touchdown, Von Brown. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Great to be back. Feel great. And, I mean, man, anytime you get to be sitting looking over a football field this time of year, third round of the playoffs, it is a great Friday night.
It is a great Friday night indeed, and we will go over all the action here for you. But first, let's make mention of the 2 undefeateds going on just north of here, as Fannin will be hosting Fitzgerald in their 2A bracket over there. So a big shout out to the Fannin Rebels as they host the Purple Hurricanes. A lot of similarities between Fitzgerald and Cartersville for people that are familiar with that, but we won't go into that here. All we will tell you is Fitzgerald is 11-0 coming in, Fannin County 10-0, and the winner will get to host, thanks to the coin flip, the winner of the Jefferson County and Bremen game. That will be going on tonight as well. Winner will host that one, so they're either going to get to go way up to Blue Ridge or way down to Fitzgerald, Georgia. That remains to be seen. But, of course, our attention here is with the River Ridge Knights as they host the Lee County Trojans. But before we jump into the matchup here, Vaughn, I know you weren't able to spend some time with us last week, but you had a chance to listen and you had a chance to develop everything and kind of process what happened. I want to get your take on the River Ridge victory over Rome of 42-10 in the last round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, and getting text message updates one thing, but being able to listen to you guys Friday night, sit at home. I was a little quarantined there, couldn't get out of the house. You brought the game to me. Excuse me. You brought the game to me on Friday. It was like I was here, so thank you guys for putting that in my living room. I was as shocked as everybody else. I mean, I did pick River Ridge 21-18. I thought Rome was a little young coming in here. They were traveling. We know the dynasty they are, but there's something special. Ever since I picked against them at Creekview, there's been, before that game and then after, there's been something special about this team that does not back down from anybody. They do not fear the name on the front of any jerseys. But, yeah, I mean, I was as shocked as anybody out there listening to you guys or anybody here in the stadium. And then I did my research on it after the fact because that 42-10 beatdown, there's only been 5 of those 32-plus beatdowns for Rome in the last, since I think 2011. So that does not happen very often to the Rome Wolves, but it did here last Friday night. Thank you guys for bringing it to me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks to everybody out there who has a chance to listen to us and making us a part of your Friday night. We hope we can do the game justice here for you as well. But with that being said, obviously River Ridge advances here to the semifinals, or excuse me, the quarterfinals, a place they haven't been in school history, and a place that is very hallowed in Cherokee County, as 2018 was the last time that we saw a team here, and Lee County has a little bit of history with Cherokee County, as you guys mentioned. Here's your first plug for the night. Friday nights at the Tavern, the football podcast over there. Make sure you listen to that with Art and Vaughn. Do a great job over there. And you made a good point. The difference is that Creekview had to go on the road to play Lee County in 2018 and then turn around, and Lee County has to come up here. Also, a point of note, there was a game that was hosted in that Elite Eight matchup, and that was Sequoia hosted Northside Warner Robins. We had a chance to call that game for you in 2018, so just a little bit of a note there. But this is the first time we've had a game this late as far as the date goes, because we're pushing well into December, knocking on the door to Christmas, and if the Knights continue to push on this way, we're going to be real close to it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't, Cherokee County traditionally, historically, doesn't make a lot of quarterfinals. We definitely don't host a lot of quarterfinals, but we get to, and, Coach Fabrizio on Wednesday night when we interviewed him, and we knew their track record historically of traveling in the playoffs. They don't travel a lot in the playoffs. Yes, they've been to 2 state championships in Atlanta. We know that. But I did not know it until he told us on the podcast. They had, before that, take away the state championship games, they've hosted 15 straight Georgia High School Athletic Association's state playoff games, so they do not travel a lot. This is the longest road trip they've ever made in school history. I forgot the showcase game. They played the Baltimore team. That was actually at Lee County. So this, since 1971, this is the longest trip they've taken for a football game in school history. It is a factor, Will. There's just no way around it. I went back and forth with Cade Radham this week because, Creekview, one of the better teams we've seen come out of Cherokee County. They had 26 seniors. They dominated the entire year. But he said, just the walk through in Perry, the meal, and then get back on the bus, get to Lee. He said it was a good quarter before they got their legs under them. Now, we're watching Lee County warm up. They don't seem to be having too much jet lag. They still look like they're 1.5% faster than maybe they should be, to Mike Collins' point on Wednesday. But, the travel is a factor. There's no way around it.
Right you are about that. And obviously when you mentioned the longest road trip in history, and you made a good point, you listed their past 3 longest, and they are 1-2 in those. And the only victory was a 44-0 victory over a Mays team that when you plug it into the CalPreps independent ranking system, they would be a 25-point underdog to River Ridge on a neutral field. So obviously not the same class of team that they will be facing here today, and the distance wasn't even close there as well. Of course, one of the longest trips was 2014 when they had to face Archer and lost to that Archer team. That was a very solid football team as well, as Archer has a good pedigree as well. But looking down the list here, let's jump into the nitty-gritty of the Lee County Trojans and the River Ridge Knights. River Ridge 11-0. You've heard the story. They beat Lassiter 49-21, Woodstock 22-17, Etowah 38-7, Chattahoochee 52-35, Riverwood 21-14, Creekview 20-17 overtime victory, Centennial 31-7 after that one, Sequoia 35-9, Cambridge 29-21, another overtime game here, Kennesaw Mountain 35-34 that really worried a lot of people, but they silenced those worries last week with a 42-10 victory over Rome. This is Coach Michael Collins' second season with the Knights. He's 14-7 overall with them, doing a great job bumping that record up this season. 2-0 playoff record with the Knights and a 3-6 overall career playoff record. And this, as you mentioned, Lee County doesn't like to travel. River Ridge has gotten used to the friendly confines here at the Ridge. This is their 6th straight home playoff game. They haven't been out of the town since the end of October when they had to go face the Creekview Grizzlies. Wow. So they know the familiar here, and they're going to appreciate that. The other side of this coin, Lee County 10-1, 2-1 away. Their wins against Jackson, 44-0. Crawford County, 66-0. Lithia Springs, 62-6. Warner Robins, 27-7. Tift County, 23-16. Houston County, 27-6. Northside Warner Robins, 20-14. Valdosta, 41-7. Tucker, 49-17. And Brunswick last week, 48-21. Their one loss on the season is to 7A powerhouse Lowndes, 38-13. A note, that was a road game as well. This is Dean Fabrazio's 12th season, 102-39 overall record. My goodness, I want to talk about job security. 16-6 overall career playoff record as well. 6A state championships in 17 and 18, and they have not won an away game this season by more than one possession. So keep that in mind if you're a River Ridge fan. Just because it sounds a little bleak right now, there's a reason that the talk doesn't settle it and the players do. We'll have to wait and see how this one turns out. But Vaughn, coming into this one, you've got a battle of two undefeateds and one that has one loss there that's a really good loss to a Lowndes team. It should be a really good game.
Yeah, it should. And if you look at the points for and points against, I mean, River Ridge has been kind of right on their number all year long. I mean, literally, they're 34 points for, 17 points against. That's a pretty darn good formula. You know, we said early in the year, you know, any high school team that's holding opponents under 20, you're holding them in the teens, especially with an offense as versatile, and I know we've said it all year long like a broken record, the versatility of River Ridge's offense and the different ways they can beat you and attack you. Obviously, it starts with number 5, but they have so many ways to do it. They've been right on that 34-17 number all year. That's a great formula. They're doubling up their teams week in and week out. Whereas Lee County's 38 points for, 12 points against. That defense not quite as good as what we saw Creekview have to go down there and challenge in 2018. But if you take away Maynard Jackson, 44-0, Crawford County, horrendous, 66-0, and Lithia Springs, 62-6, it's a much more respectable 31-16. So it's right there with that River Ridge number. And I'm telling you, tonight's going to be interesting, but I think they've got a really good chance.
Right you are, Vaughn. When we come back, we'll break down the offense and defense here for you, what you can expect. And then after that break, we'll bring you in for the first half of action between the undefeated River Ridge Knights and the one-loss Lee County. Again, you're listening to the Cherokee County Football Radio Network on WLJA FM 101.1. 2 minutes, and we'll be back. Once again, this is the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Cherokee pregame show.
When you are the official sponsor of the comeback, adding a few feet to a drive matters.
First down.
So does shaving 1/10 of a second off a lap. Top-rated surgery, physical therapy, and motion analysis by the sports medicine team at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta helps young athletes not only prevent injuries, but heal faster and return stronger, ready to win. Our more than 25 orthopedic and sports medicine locations are ready to assist your athlete's comeback. To learn more, visit choa.org/sportsmed.
At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we believe that your insurance protection and wealth management plan go hand in hand. We start by shopping your insurance with highly rated companies to find you the best combination of price and protection. With that plan in place, we can then work with you to develop a tailored financial plan. Whether you need to save money on insurance or you need a full financial plan, call us at 678-880-9571 or come by 670 East Main Street in Canton for a no-obligation consultation today. Securities and advisory services offered through Packer Land Brokerage Services Incorporated, an unaffiliated entity, member FNIRA and SIPC.
Can't Tire Will, Can't Tire Will. We've got great tires and we've got great deals.
I'm Cooper.
And I'm Katie.
Hey.
And that was Camden.
We're Mr. Danny's grandsons, and we want to tell you about Can't Tire Will. They are automotive specialists. They can take care of all your automotive service needs.
Tell Steve and my poppy that you heard us on the radio next time you call Can't Tire Will at 770-479-6556. Remember, you'll be entirely spoiled at Can't Tire Will. See them for all your automotive needs.
Hey, y'all, it's Victoria at Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet. It is fall, time for the game. How about new recliner? How about a sectional with recliners at both ends? Everything you need, we have at the Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Store. There's no reason not to buy today, and if you can't find it at our store, you just don't need it. Locations are Ackworth, Hiram, and Rome. At Ackworth, we do offer appointments only on Wednesday for high-risk customers. Come and see us, Woodstock Furniture and Mattress Outlet.
For the highest quality furniture, the best prices, see Woodstock Furniture Outlet.
Welcome back into the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Cherokee pregame show as the colors retire off to our left-hand side. We are, of course, here at River Ridge. We want to thank all the folks for River Ridge for allowing us to come back here for one more game, and hope we get another one after this as well. But, of course, we do want to send a special thank you to the GHSA, as the GHSA, in partnership with Cherokee County Football and the River Ridge Knights, allow us to bring you this game. The GHSA is a voluntary nonprofit organization composed of over 460 public and private schools. The GHSA administers regulations for regions and state competition in 19 sports and 2 activities. Founded in 1908, the GHSA strives to promote good sportsmanship, participant safety, and fair play among its member schools. For more information, visit GHSA.net. Follow at Official GHSA on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more. With all that being said, I want to welcome everybody back into the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Cherokee pregame show with me, Will Cooper, and Vaughn Brown as well. We talked about the points. We talked about all the numbers coming into this one. Now let's talk about some of the Jimmies and the Joes. First of all, for Lee County, coming into this one, you're going to see a style of offense that is not going to confuse anybody. They like to run to the strong side of the football, and that happens to be off of the right side of the field with Quayshawn Sapp, the junior, 6'6", 305-pound right guard, and number 77, Zach Cleveland, the right tackle, senior, 6'5", 270. Both of those guys are highly recruited, as Quayshawn Sapp is a 4-star with offers from Alabama, Georgia, Georgia Tech, LSU, and Tennessee, just to name a few. And offensive tackle Zach Cleveland has offers from Virginia Tech, Pitt, and Cincinnati as a 3-star recruit as well. On the other side of that coin, Vaughn, you look at River Ridge, not so many stars, and not yet anyway, but of course they do have some of the Jimmies and the Joes as well. Brian Bradley on the defensive side of the ball, you're talking about a guy who's got 100-plus tackles at a defensive end position. You're talking about Jackson Head, who absolutely dominated the game last week against Rome. Didn't have that many catches, but he was averaging almost 25 yards a catch. And then obviously Carson Latham, very cerebral with the football, and a name that we feel like we've been calling since 2010 is Amir Morrison. Got the start in his freshman year, and now in his junior year, well on his way. If he can have a really good game tonight, might break that 2,000-yard mark. We'll have to wait and see about that one. But so far in this one, it should be a good matchup between the offense of River Ridge and the defense of Lee County.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to earn everything you get against Lee County, right? I mean, this defense, we said it the other night, it's not going to look like the Georgia Bulldogs when they run out on the field. There's a lot of 6'1", 200, 6'2", 210, but it will be the fastest defense they've seen. So, we were talking earlier before the broadcast, and, I think River Ridge, what we're going to have to see out of that offense is Amir maybe not try to get that 74, but get that 7.
Right.
And get that 5. And if they can just get chunks, it's very hard to go get the 80-yard touchdown. Now, Jackson, he's a difference maker. Riley Kane, very good at catching the ball in traffic. They saw that last week, obviously, on film with what Jackson Head has done against Rome and what he's done all year. He's going to earn it. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to try to single cover him maybe as much as Rome did. But I'll tell you, for a sophomore, a basketball player, a skilled athlete, and the size he has, when the ball's in his vicinity, he finds a way to go get it. He's just going to have to do that a couple times tonight, and then I think they're just going to have to get what Lee County will give them. It's not going to be big chunks because, again, that defense is so fast.
And the other side of that coin, we're talking about the defense for Lee County. They are stacked as well. Lots of size all over the place, and obviously you turn to the stars of recruiting as well. You look over there, linebacker Barron Hobson, 3-star, offers from Georgia Tech, Indiana, Duke, and Cincinnati. And linebacker Jerron Willis, the junior, 4-star, just picked up his 4th star the other day, offers from Georgia Tech, Auburn, Florida, Florida State, and LSU as well. So a lot of guys with a lot of big names potential. We'll see them on Saturdays, and maybe 1 or 2 of them will end up on Sundays, but we got a long way to go before that. But when you look across the board, the one name that I really like that we kind of mentioned, but we don't really give him the praise he deserves, and that's number 2, Andrew Bingham. You're talking about a guy who comes in with 29 receptions, 287 yards, and 2 tubs, but on the ground is where he makes his difference. And this is what I really like about him, is he can be supplemental to Amir Morris. He's not a replacement, but comes in with 64 carries, 433 yards, and 5 tubs on the year. And I really, really like Andrew, and I think what they used against Rome was a 2-back system out of the shotgun. Wouldn't be surprised to see that this week.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. They can go deep. They run the ball. Obviously, they're first and foremost. They're if you look at River Ridge and their percentage, their breakdown, they're 60% run, they're 40% pass, which is a breakdown in rush to pass that I absolutely love. Because it shows that you're not super dependent on the pass. You're going to establish the run first, and then if you look at the other side of the ball at Lee County, they're 73% run. And you alluded to this earlier. They want to line up and they want to push you off the ball and they want to get their speed in space and they're just going to run it right at you. You have to stop that first and foremost. But without a doubt, I think when you bring and what I do like about the matchup tonight, nobody. At any point in the season loves seeing Lee County on the other side because they've been that dominant for the last 5 years, and they continue to be. But the River Ridge defense and what Coach Collins and the staff do in preparation and being ready for anything that might be thrown at them, a one-dimensional, and Lee County's not necessarily all one-dimensional, maybe like Sequoia usually is, but 73% is a lot of run. That's just not a good formula against a River Ridge defense that always seems to be, and we said this since the Etowah game, they always seem to be in the right place and know what's coming.
Well, one thing that you mentioned there, and maybe people will notice that if you're a big Lee County person, you may notice that we haven't mentioned Chauncey Magwood. He's a 3-star wide receiver committed to Kentucky, but the thing that makes him such an interesting topic of discussion is the fact he's not going to line up at wide receiver tonight. He'll be out of the shotgun at quarterback. He is 38 of 92 passing, 633 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. But the real reason they like him as the quarterback is because he's a supplemental runner to the duo of the running backs that they will use. He comes in with 79 carries, 433 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And Juju Caleb McDowell is the senior running back committed to South Carolina. He's 5'10", 178, 126 carries, 986 yards, 20 touchdowns. And the other running back, Preston Simmons, a little bit of thunder and lightning with him, 5'8", 190, the more of the bruising back. He's got 124 carries, 826 yards, and 11 touchdowns for that young man. So this is a Lee County team that is going to try to run it. They're going to try and run it with a few different players. As we mentioned, most of those guys have well over 500 yards. Of course, Chauncey's only 77 yards short of that. But when you turn around and look at the other side of that coin for River Ridge, they have a pretty good defensive line as well, headed by Brian Bradley, who was interviewed on your podcast this week. 112 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, and 1 forced fumble, and really, really come into his own over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at it, and Juju McDowell averages 7.83 a carry. Preston Simmons averages 6.66 a carry. So they get big chunks, about the same amount of carries each on the year. But you add their total yards up, they're still a little bit short of Amir Morrison. And I know they haven't played the same schedule, but what Amir has done, I think he's 167 yards from 2,000. Now, this probably isn't the defense you want to see on the other side to go get that 167, but we've nobody's ever doubted Amir before, and Coach Fabrizio spoke very, very highly of him. And then to go back to the Lee County side, Chauncey Magwood and Barron Hobson, they've started since they were freshmen. And Lee County plays a lot of games a year because they sometimes it's 15. 2018, they played 16 games. Those guys have started 55 games with a Lee County jersey on. So I can only imagine how comfortable they are with everything they do and throw at teams. And tonight, their 56th start for Lee County. Hopefully for us and River Ridge, it's their last start.
And to put that in perspective, 56 starts, if they had played a regular schedule and didn't play any in the playoffs, they'd be at 40 if they started from their first game. So you're talking about 16 additional games. So not only just additional experience and reps, but playoff experience. This is going to be their 16th playoff game. So, my goodness, you want to talk about some guys who are ready to play ball. Those guys for sure will be as well. For me, on the other side of this, River Ridge, what really impresses me, and we saw this last week against Rome, is their corners in one-on-one coverage. Chase Usher and Cohen Liner, the 2 starting corners, and you'll see Micah Martineau option in there and Andrew Bingham if they need him as well. Joined alongside Scotty Rutherford, the safety, and Connor Gross, the other safety. That secondary to me is going to be key if River Ridge can force this team to pass the ball and make Chauncey have a long day as a quarterback instead of as a runner.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see the first quarter River Ridge come out and and showed Lee County that they're gonna have to throw the ball a little bit because they don't want to. They want to run the ball, but River Ridge has been excellent in pass coverage. Tonight's going to be very vital with the speed that Lee County has and how slippery these running backs and even Chauncey Magwood are to tackle in tandem, tackle in groups, and get them on the ground. But, I think just similar to what we saw last week against Rome, if they can come out and show Lee County that they are in for a game tonight, this is going to be interesting.
I agree with you. And one last point we do want to make as the teams are getting ready to come out here on the tunnel, and a lot of talk going on between the two teams. The officials trying to keep them separated as much as possible. Of course, when we mentioned the difference between Cherokee County and some of the South Georgia teams, River Ridge's roster can fit on one page. For the Lee County roster, we have to minimize it just to get it to fit on 2 pages. So just a little bit of difference when you see these two teams come out in the huddle. But obviously, all that really matters are your starting 22 and the backups behind that if you need them. But listen, this is not about any of the Jimmies and the Joes like we mentioned. This is all about today, and Coach Collins has really coached that. And one thing that I would say is I have to give the coaching advantage to Michael Collins, getting to stay home, work with his guys, and not have to worry about the travel of everything. And I really feel like River Ridge has a chance in this one.
Familiar confines. Like you said, they've been here a lot. They haven't been on the road in a long time. Speaking of River Ridge, that is. I wish we could have full capacity. It would be. It's going to be electric regardless. I think we're at 25% capacity. Lee County, pretty good showing on the visitor side. But what I love about Georgia high school football is you win and you get your seed, you win and you keep playing. If this was the college football playoff committee making a vote to who gets in, River Ridge isn't in, right? Because they don't have the pedigree, they don't have the name on the front of their jersey. So thank goodness it's a get your seed, keep winning, keep playing, and if you keep playing, you win a state championship. And whatever happens tonight, there's going to be haters, there's going to be lovers, but this has been a tremendous season to follow River Ridge football, and we've enjoyed being a part of it. I picked them 26-21. I think they have a fighting chance tonight.
We'll have to wait and see. We've got 2 minutes till kickoff. We're going to take our final break of the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Cherokee pregame show. When we come back in, we'll welcome Dave Garner back in, who will help me bring this one to you. 2 minutes and we'll be back. You're listening to the Cherokee County Football Radio Network on WLJA FM 101.1.
Welcome to Perk Up. What can I get you?
Can I have a large, skinny, non-fat macchiato with
My 15-year-old has the taste buds of a middle-aged woman, but she's no adult. That's why we took her to Children's for her scoliosis. Their pediatric orthopedic program is nationally ranked. Their specialists understand growing bones and how to treat them. My kid ordering an adult-style coffee? Okay. Going to an adult doctor? Not so much.
Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Orthopedics. Where you take them matters. Learn more at choa.org/ortho.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Sosby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Sosby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
Hi, it's Dave Garner, voice of the Cherokee County Game of the Week. But did you know I'm also your local Woodman Life representative and poverty prevention specialist? For over 130 years, Woodman Life has protected families with life insurance and retirement products. And as your local agent, I want to make sure that your money outlives you and that you don't outlive your money. Call or text me at 706-273-9347 or visit my Facebook page at Dave Garner Woodman Life to learn how I can help you or your loved ones today. Insurance protection, financial security, Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
The #1 magazine to read is Enjoy Cherokee. This beautiful full-color seasonal publication keeps you in the know with articles about interesting people, fun events, hot restaurants, and cool ideas. Enjoy Cherokee is for busy people who enjoy a lifestyle magazine worth reading and keeping. You'll find Enjoy Cherokee available at most high-traffic locations and mailed free to homes throughout Cherokee County. Join the thousands who don't miss a single issue. Follow us on Facebook and find issues on enjoycherokee.com. Ask for a free publication and enjoy.
Welcome into high school football in December. It is the River Ridge Knights as they host the Lee County Trojans in the Elite 8 of the high school football playoffs in 2020 bracket 6A. Thank you for joining us. I'm Will Cooper, joined alongside Diamond Dave Garner, the golden voice of the broadcast. Vaughn Brown to the right of me, along with Ronnie on the spot. Ronnie Cooper keeping stats for us. And Ace of Spades Jones back on Master Control, making us sound so good, like he always does. Lee County has the ball teed up, and we are set here. The whistles blow. Lee County decides to give each other high fives. And number 88, Wyatt Hurst, will put his leg into this one. Toe meets leather, and we're underway in Woodstock. Ball will be brought down to about the 10-yard line. Amir Morrison hits it, and it's muffed. And scramble for the ball. We'll have to see who gets it. Lee County says they have it. And they do. So Lee County will take over at the 5-yard line of River Ridge.
Wow, what a nightmarish start for River Ridge. That ball was hit short, and Amir Morrison, who's done a nice job on returns this year, made the cardinal sin of letting that ball hit the ground. You never do that on a kickoff, and he had to that ball took a little bit of a back pedal there and looked like a golf shot, and he came up and got that ball. When he did, he got nailed and was slow to get off the turf there. So less than an ideal start and a much different start than we saw last week, as they're already in a hole.
Dual sideline warnings issued to both of the benches before this one came out. Both teams were pretty fired up, having a little bit of a chippy conversation getting into this one. But Lee County will take over at the 5-yard line. Of course, as we mentioned, Chauncey Magwood will be the quarterback leading his team out with this rushing attack. See what they can do here. It's actually Juju McDowell who took the direct snap, and there's a flag. And it will be a false start against Lee County, so they'll back him out to the 10-yard line. So it'll still be first and goal, but from the 10-yard line.
Well, you know, one thing that the knock on this Lee County team, they're number one in the state, of course, coming in 6A, but they do commit a lot of penalties. They haven't been disciplined at times. You guys talked about the Jimmies and the Joes in the pregame show. There, we'll let Vaughn interject as well. But, again, kind of a penalty-laden team right here, and they're already backing up.
McDowell once again getting the direct snap, bounces it to the outside. And a couple of Knights get to him, and he is brought down in the backfield. Wow, they'll give him forward progress all the way up to the 7-yard line, was eventually wrestled down at the 11. A very generous spot for the Lee County Trojans. Make it second down at about the 5 or 6-yard line.
You know, and somehow if River Ridge, you got to feel like here on this opening drive, you know, they've already taken a possession away from the Knights on this kickoff. You got to feel like if they can at least force a field goal right here, it's a big win for River Ridge coming out of the locker room right here. A lot of emotion, a lot of jawing, as you said, going on. You know, South Georgia football, it's a whole nother animal with Lee County in here tonight.
Watch Lee County run it to the left side here. Chauncey Magwood in with the shotgun formation, turns around, hands it off to Preston, and that's exactly where he goes. And he is stopped right at about the 5-yard line. In on the tackle, it looked like Connor Gross was in there as well as Hunter Coleman. So it'll bring up third and about 6.
Dave, you know, we talked about it earlier. They're not going to try a lot of field goals. I think Lee County, no matter what happens here, you're going to see them go for it on fourth down. If they get to that point, they want to put 7 on the board.
Yeah, Connor Gross came up, gave an earful there to McDowell on that last play. They're trying to return it as well, playing the game, trying to not let Lee County intimidate them, which is a big part of what they do to other teams.
The energy here is palpable. There's a little confusion from Lee County. Chauncey talking to Preston. They motion the tight end back to the right-hand side. Fake it there. It's a pass over the middle, and it's wide open, and touchdown for Lee County, as that is the first pass, and it is completed. Trying to get a number there for you. I believe that's number 20, the tight end.
Yep.
And that's Washington. Yep, Tyrus Washington. 11 receptions, 117 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So Lee County up early in this one on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard, 6-0, pinning the extra point.
Yeah, just a tough start. You know, the special team bobble there on the kickoff, you know, got them kind of behind schedule there on the opening drive. And it looked like they were, you know, in a position to make a little bit of a goal line stand right there, but just a nice play-action fake. They throw it to Washington, the tight end, who was open.
The kick is up, and it is through. A pretty nasty kick, but that kick was intended by Alex Collins. Austin Hunt, number 89, 48-52 for the point after attempts on the year. It'll be 49 for 53. We'll keep the action right here for you as the Trojans are up early in this one, 7-0 with 10:25 left to go in the first.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have to sell out so much to stop the run down there. So they're very high percent. They don't throw it a lot, but they're high percentage when they do throw it. And we saw right there the little drag route, and he was wide open.
Ronnie, you got some stats for us?
Yeah, we got 3 plays, 2 rushes for 4 yards, 1 for 1 passing for 6, a 10-yard drive. Of course, you had the 5-yard penalty that allowed them to go 10 yards, 6-yard touchdown pass to Washington.
All right. Lee County up early in this one, 7-0. 10:25 left to go. So, Dave, what adjustments do the Knights need to make here?
Well, obviously, if you're Amir Morrison, you got to shake that off, have a short memory as he goes back deep for this kickoff. You can't let the ball hit the ground, though. They must have saw something in the tape, that suggested that there's a big hole there in the middle of that return team, and just a great placed kick by Hurst there on the opening kickoff to get the turnover, and now they'll cheat up. Morrison's up to the 10-yard line right here to try to avoid that same fate here. But, you got to calm down. You got to have a short memory. River Ridge, it's got to go down now and answer the challenge.
Kick is up, and it's deep off to the left-hand side. Morrison will track it all the way back, and it'll bounce about the 2-yard line, and it'll roll out of bounds right at the goal line. So the Knights will get to take over all the way up at the 40-yard line, not 35, but the 40-yard line in high school. So good opening field possession here for the Knights as they get the first time to touch the ball as an offense.
Yeah,
you're going to see good and bad happen on both sides of the ball tonight. Obviously, you don't want that early in the game because it does set a momentum. But we've seen River Ridge be resilient all year long. We saw resiliency over at Creekview when they were down. So they do need a drive right here, though.
For sure. 10:25 still on the clock. Again, this is the first quarter. 7-0 in favor of the Lee County Trojans after the muffed kickoff. Carson Latham will trot his team out. Looks like they'll split 3 guys wide. Riley Caines out there on the far side. Amir Morrison joins him in the pistol formation here. Moves Riley Caines from right to left on the left-hand side of the offensive line now. Sends a man in motion. That's Bingham. And whistles here early, and it looks like this will be a false start against River Ridge. So the first 2 penalties for both offenses happen to be false starts.
Yeah, a mental mistake on the opening kickoff, and now another one right here, and you just can't afford to get behind the chains against this defense. Now, we've seen this defense run a 3-3 stack, which you don't see a lot all year long, usually playing the zero technique in the middle. On that last play there, they cheated up the backer right there, Anthony McGrady to the outside, showing a 4-man front.
Turn around, hand off to Morrison off the left-hand side, makes a couple people miss, gets a handful of face masks, nobody sees it. Wow. So he gains about 3, not sure how they missed that one, but it'll be 2nd and 11 or 12, depending on the spot.
Yeah, not a bad run, really. I mean, 5 yards on the penalty right there. You almost get all the penalty yardage back. Good run there to kind of set the stage early. And I think for River Ridge, just a matter of settling down, getting into a rhythm, methodically moving the football and getting first downs right here, even though they're behind the chains right now.
3 wide receivers to the top. Turn around, hand off to Morrison. Try and work up the middle. Falls forward for a gain of about 4 on top of that one. So they'll make it 3rd and manageable here. And, Dave, this is a team that we saw against Rome last week that had a lot of success on 3rd and long.
Yeah, the Rome Wolves were just unable to get off the field. River Ridge converting several 3rd and longs. They had 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, 12, and even a 15 I think they converted. The only thing is right now probably going to have to come out of Latham's hands on this play right here with the 2 backs.
3 wide receivers, 2 running backs. That's Amir Morrison to his left, and then Andrew Bingham to his right. Barking out orders at the line is Latham, getting the call from the side. Surveys the field. It's a pass all the way. Pressure right in his face. It's completed out in the flat, but he's hit for a loss of a couple. I believe that was intended for Riley Caines. Andrew Bingham's the one that received that. So it'll be a loss of 1, and it'll bring up 4th and about 8 or 9.
And I'm not looking at this with rose-colored goggles by any means, but I really like it. I mean, because you get behind 5 yards, you rush the ball 8 or 9 yards there from Morrison, but you were behind the chain, so you had to have a big play on 3rd down. They brought the house that time. Lee County put everyone in the box, and they came after Latham, got it out of his hands, completed the pass. They're going to have to try to keep this defense off balance tonight with throwing to those backs, both Bingham and Morrison out of the backfield, which we saw them do effectively last week.
The Knights will line up as an offense and then shift out of it. The play clock's winding down here. They're going to have to take a timeout or a delay of game, and it looks like they're just going to take the delay of game here. So it'll move them from the 38 back to the 33, and so far for the Knights, the mental mistakes have been against them.
Well, we talk about, a lot of times the opening kickoff can set the momentum for an entire football game. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that right here. That opening kickoff has kind of thrown the River Ridge Knights a little bit out of their game. Offense is expected to go on the field. Lee County wins the coin toss. They defer. Then all of a sudden their defense with their backs to the wall.
Lee County gets after this one, but a good punt by Scotty. And McDowell back to fair catch this one, and he does so at about the 32-yard line. So the Lee County Trojans will have to take over on their side of the field. We'll keep the action right here for you as Lee County gets their 2nd attempt on the offense.
To your point, Dave, getting behind the chains, not a good formula against a defense like Lee County. But the encouraging part is Amir Morrison did gain about 8 yards, so they would have been looking at a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, if not for the false start.
Absolutely. Great point. So really you're on schedule. It's just that 5-yard penalty got you behind there. You're not going to get a lot of big chunks against this defense, but now River Ridge defense, they got to step up, and now they got to try to force Lee County to work the field a little more.
Devo Roberts, 5'11", 310-pound fullback. It's a pass here on first down, and it's going to be real close to the first down marker, and they'll give him the first down. I believe that was completed out to number 4, David Godwin. And that is Goodwin, the senior, 5'11", 160 pounds, 19 receptions, 329 yards, and 4 touchdowns coming into this one.
Yeah, 2 rush, 2 pass so far. Not what we expected. Lee County, as you said, Chauncey Magwood doesn't put the ball in the air a lot, but they did right there on first down to try to keep this River Ridge defense on their heels a bit.
2 wide receivers to the bottom. Turned around. It's a handoff to McDowell up the middle. A great tackle if they can wrap him up, and they do. First one on contact was Liam Bruton right up the middle. 96 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks coming into this one. A gain of 1, 2nd and 9.
You got to think that this offensive line, being as big as they are, probably going to try to move away a little bit from Brian Bradley, seeing what he's done over the last 2 weeks. And right now that's what they've done. They've kind of ran away from him just a little bit here on this opening this series right here.
3 wide receivers split out. They'll get the call from the sideline here. Once again, Chauncey Magwood is a wide receiver committed to Kentucky, the 3-star, but doing what he can for his team, filling in at the quarterback position after the injury. Preston Simmons joins him in the backfield, and it's a bootleg out to that side. Plenty of room, and a bad pass falls incomplete at the feet of Javel Ferguson. The sophomore, 6', 182-pound receiver with 9 receptions, 235 yards, and only 1 touchdown on the year, brings up 3rd and 9 from Lee County's own 42-yard line.
The one thing I notice about this defense, they don't seem intimidated right now by Lee County. A lot of pushing and shoving. They're giving it right back to them. I mean, that's kind of the way it is. This is a night team that only dresses out about 45 players, and you look over there, and they've got, 3-4 charter buses full of kids playing. So, again, this River Ridge team, though, playing well with the guys they have in a big 3rd down right here.
3rd and 9. 4 wide receivers split out. Magwood, the quarterback, sends Preston Simmons, that's McDowell in the flat. Number 29's right on him. He escapes the first tackle, escapes the second tackle. He's got the first down and more. Sideline. And he's finally forced out of bounds by Connor Gross. And a little bit of extracurriculars going on over there on the sideline, but they do a good job separating everybody. And improvisation enough for a first down. Move those chains as Lee County is across into River Ridge territory.
Well, that was all Chauncey Magwood there. The senior he was dead to rights in the backfield. Just a great pressure off the edge there by the Knights, who had a free shot at him, and somehow or another spins off of 2 or 3 tackles and then hits the far sideline, is able to pick up the first down yardage into the Knights territory. That's just a tough break right there. That's the play. If you're the Knights, you got to get him off the field.
Aiden Bruton was the one that almost had him wrapped up there. This time it's a keeper by Magwood and a pass. It was an RPO. Slants out the middle, and the Knights will wrap him up. Connor Gross there on the tackle. And once again, that was completed to David Godwin, number 4.
Yeah, not much there at all, though. They've done a nice job so far on the perimeter, has this Knights defense. They just couldn't get off the field on that 3rd down. But, still 6-7 yards there on first down. And so if you're the Knights, you got to try to hold it right here. As Vaughn said, you guys said earlier, they don't kick a lot of field goals. This is 4-down territory for them all the way to the house from this point. So got to make a stop, and a turnover would be nice, too.
No kidding. So gain of about 6. It'll be 2nd and 4. Magwood has 3 wide receivers split out. Now they move Tyrus Washington back to the line here. Signals the motion. McDowell. And it's a fake handoff to him, and Magwood will keep it up the middle. Nearly fumbled it, did he? And the referee marks him down. So the River Ridge side wanting a fumble probably shouldn't have got it. And River Ridge, for the 2nd time tonight, gets the unfortunate part. And the Lee County having a little bit of trouble picking everybody up, but everybody's up and okay. So it'll be enough for a first down on the run.
Yeah, terrible call. 2 bad calls already in this game. And you know me, I don't talk a lot about the officials, but the obvious face mask there, River Ridge on that first drive. And then right there, I had the binoculars, so I know what I'm looking at. That ball popped loose once Magwood got hit. Knights fell on it, but they said he was already down. Just a tough break, and there would have been that turnover we're talking about.
Well, Lee County, the powerhouse, typically gets the officials' calls. So it is a good question where the officials are from. But a timeout from River Ridge. Coach Collins would like to have a discussion with the officials as well, and that's where he's going over to have a conversation with the White Hats.
Yeah. Well, these guys, you never know. It's Georgia High School Association. They bring them in from wherever. But the interesting thing about officials in a lot of the postseason, these guys don't always work together throughout the season. They bring together a lot of different crews, guys from different crews, when you start working some of these latter games. So, a lot of these crews that are together haven't been together all year long. And so, the continuity is not always there. Coach Collins, as you said, calls the timeout defensively to settle his defense. But I think it was more about him being able to talk to the officials, and not necessarily just about the fumble, but some of the other things that are going on as well. And so, again, you got to make them aware of it. It's like that basketball timeout early in the game. You don't want to let things get out of hand. Good timeout right here by Coach Michael Collins. Burning the first. They still have 2 left here in this first half.
Well, I can tell you, and Dave, you know this as well from football experience, it's a big thing when your coach is willing to go out there and fight for you for the refs.
Yeah.
And he was very obvious in what he was saying. He turned around, looked at the official, and said, your back was to the play. How do you get to call that? And the best part about Coach Collins is that he's a big personality, very animated when he speaks, and we do appreciate Coach Collins taking the time for everything he does for us in the county. And he's a big part of what we are able to do for everyone. And it looks like they're huddling back up here. Not sure what the delay is. Maybe a conversation about that last play.
Yeah, the officials, they're out there doing the best job they can. They want to make sure they've got the communication there. Like we said, not sure how many games this crew has actually worked together, if any. They're not always, that information is not always given ahead of time there. But, again, and now they're going to come over and talk things over. There was obviously, I think there was something else going on there, too.
Maybe. Here's the thing. These teams have been really fired up coming out of the gate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of trash talk, Lee County, number 1 in the state, they have a lot of confidence. They play with a lot of swagger, man. That's the thing. And I don't know if that's still a cool word or not. Or is that, is swagger, is it outdated?
Yes.
Or is that still?
It's outdated.
You're safe.
You're not.
Of course, the 20-year-old saying it's outdated.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Magwood, the quarterback. He'll be joined by Preston Simmons in the backfield. Turns around, says something to him. Play clock winding down, 15 seconds here. Fakes the handoff to him. It's another pass over the middle, one-on-one coverage, and a beautiful throw and catch to number 8, Javelle Ferguson. Touchdown, Lee County. Wow, what a great throw by Magwood, and they are up early, 13-0, pending the extra point on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard.
Our boy Brian Bradley was about 1 second away. He came in untouched and was about 1 second away from getting to Chauncey.
So we'll have to see. Austin Hunt, will come on to attempt the point after. Lee County with a little bit of a different split. They have some guys off of the line of scrimmage there for protection. River Ridge coming after this one. A low kick, but it looks like it's true, and it is up and through the upright. Let's take a 30-second break, and we'll be back. You're listening to the Cherokee County Game of the Week on the WLJA 101.1 FM.
Game on! Football's back, and we're celebrating at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County. Get game-winning offers right now. Drive the best-selling 2020 Nissan Rogue, or check out the redesigned 2020 Sentra. If you try it, you'll buy it. They're that good, fun, and affordable. Catch the savings now before they're gone. Only at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County, across from the Holly Springs Walmart. Online at NissanNorthAtlanta.com. Remember, if it doesn't say Sutherland, you paid too much.
Because they wanted to hit them.
You heard the voice of Dave Garner there as he is talking over the break there. It's okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries. We were discussing the original kickoff there as Amir Morrison took a shot there after letting it fall and muffed the kick there. So his feet are on the 10-yard line as he will most likely run up and try to catch this one, although the last time they did get the benefit of the call as it rolled out right at the goal line and was spotted at the 40-yard line. But let's see what they do with this one.
Well, it's got a funky back draw there. I'd like to see what this 9-iron shot looks like.
No kidding. Toe meets leather again, and we're underway. This is a shorter kick. It'll be fielded by one of the upbacks. Amir Morrison up to block, and that's great coverage down there. And they get it to about the 19-yard line, which is really where he caught it from originally. So a gain of nothing on the return, and River Ridge will get a setup. Ronnie, do you have the stats from that last drive for us?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I've got you 7 plays, 68 yards, 3 runs for 28, 3 of 4 passing for 40 yards, 3 first downs, 2 minutes and 14 seconds off the clock.
So the passing game for Lee County is the one that showed up here so far. A bit of an interesting dynamic there. Of course, this is a River Ridge team that does very well in the second half. So if you're Michael Collins trying to get your guys, let's get to the halftime. Let's try to make this manageable here. Carson Latham will get to attempt his first pass. Out to Jackson Head in the flat. A good gain right at the first down marker. Looks like they'll walk it back by about a yard, so it'll be 2nd and 1.
Yeah, there's not one play that counts for 14 points. And that's the thing. You're down 14-0 in a hole, that you dug early, but there's still a team that's playing with some poise, that we talked about. Just got to get first downs right now. They're now on schedule here at 2nd and 1. They have an opportunity to go out and pick up their first down of the night and try to get just a little bit of momentum going.
The other big thing is let your defense try and figure out what it needs to do. This time it's a handoff to Amir. No, it's a keeper by Carson. He slides down at about the 32-yard line. Could have been a late hit as Carson Latham easily gave himself up, and Coach Collins wants that conversation as well.
Yeah, Latham was sliding, went feet first there, and took a shot, but no flag. So
and the get-back coach comes into effect here as Jackson Head's trying to tell him to relax, and it took the get-back coach to get Coach Collins off.
Yeah. But that's, big play right there. Great play fake. Lee County bid on that. These guys really don't have a lot of respect for River Ridge. I mean, they are cheating guys up in the box, not playing their normal defense at all. 6-7 guys in the box. We haven't seen that all year.
So be it. Handoff to Morrison this time. Rumbles forward, still on his feet. A hard guy to bring down. Maybe a gain of a half yard, maybe a gain of nothing. And Andrew Bingham on the carry, hard to see there in the scuffle. That's one of the things about this Lee County team is that they're all about a head taller than the rest of the guys. So we're trying to get numbers here for you, but we're looking through binoculars, and it's not exactly easy to see over the Lee County Trojans.
No, it's not. Andrew Bingham last week, 51 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Amir Morrison, 115, stayed on schedule, 4.5 a touch, 3 touchdowns, and he's in the backfield.
Handoff this time, makes a couple people miss, and he's fighting forward. And still a good gain there. A gain of about 3 or 4 that time on the carry. So out across to the 36-yard line. And it'll bring up 3rd and about 6.
So you find yourself in that same 3rd down situation you were on that first drive. And, of course, you complete the pass, but for, a yard or 2 lost there. So let's see what they dial at this time. You're talking about, of course, Tyler Jones, offensive coordinator. See what he dials up right here, anticipating a big rush here in the middle by Lee County.
4 wide receivers split out. They bring 5. And it's attempted out there in the flat, and a flag comes in late. We'll have to see. Jack Hall was in the backfield as well. Maybe a hold. And River Ridge is pointing towards that way. We'll have to see
maybe
what
a
the
roughing
call
the
is.
passer.
Maybe.
Yeah. Nope.
And it is a roughing the passer.
Yep.
So an automatic first down, and on top of the yardage, that'll be enough to move the chains. And there's that Lee County lack of discipline we talked about coming into this one.
This is a team that, and no disrespect, it's why they're number 1 in the state. They want to hurt you. They kick those kickoffs short because they want you to have to field the ball, and they want to punish you. This is a team that is very much about attacking. We talk about pressure off the edge. Defensively, they don't necessarily bring pressure off the edge other than organically. They bring it right to your face. I mean, this is a team that likes to bull rush right in the middle. They got a lot of big guys over there. So, again, they don't necessarily have to dial up a lot of pressure. They get it anyway. And so you got to take that to your advantage and swing it to these backs out of the backfield.
Ball on the 49. Keeper to Amir off the left-hand side, and he's wrapped up by a group of about 6 Trojans there in the middle. And, wow, a lot of extracurriculars there. Lee County getting up all fired up, but no flag, no harm. And he lost about a yard. It's a 2nd and 11.
I kind of feel like I'm watching the scene from Friday Night Lights, the movie, with Permian and Dallas Carter in the championship.
Yeah.
These guys are ripping each other apart, and these officials aren't doing anything about it. And it's
these guys definitely took a bus from South Georgia.
I think so. It's definitely a different brand of football. We knew that coming in. River Ridge, though, they've got, to their credit, they got to be able to match the intensity.
4 wide receivers, good protection so far. Latham has all day to throw. Surveys, finds a man over the middle. I believe that's Riley Canes right at the first down marker, and it is. Move those chains, enough for a first down all the way across to the 39-yard line. And a great job by that River Ridge offensive line, giving Carson Latham all day to throw.
Yeah, Riley Canes had 4 grabs last week, 50-plus yards. He has been a big weapon from the tight end spot. But he's a guy that you can line up at H-back and kind of move him around a little bit. And he was open in the middle of the field that time. And to what you said, Will, offensive line doing a great job that time holding him up.
2 running backs, Bingham and Amir. And Amir gets it here. And nothing working. He still keeps it. Wow, 30, 25, 20, 15, and he steps out of bounds. Oh, my goodness. He was bottled at the middle of the line. Bounced it outside. Nobody heard whistles, and he kept on chugging along. Move those chains, enough for a first down.
Well, how big would this be right here? And, the thing is, they had him wrapped up, and as they were trying to throw him backwards, because, he's a much smaller guy, they were throwing him backwards to try to throw him to the ground. Somehow or another, though, Morrison, with great balance, kept his feet and was able to just turn to the outside, caught everybody napping.
Amir Morrison, 5'7", 150 pounds, a huge gain on this one. It's a pass on first down. Over the middle, Jackson Head, one-on-one. Lots of contacts from – oh, nope, sorry, that's a football. My bad.
Yeah, that ball was a little bit over his head right there, and Well, Cooper's excited. He's going to do like the Larry Munson thing where he falls out of his chair at some point tonight. But
I have to apologize on that one, folks.
Yeah.
I saw something flying, and I didn't even think about it. It was somebody in the corner of the end zone throwing the football back.
Yeah, it was a football. Yeah, it's that brown oval thing that they're playing with tonight. But,
Well,
yeah, no, it's –
if Jackson keeps running there, I think, it's not a bad thrown ball. I think he was looking for the over-the-shoulder, and he threw it a little bit further.
You're right.
This time turned around. It's a handoff to Morrison, and he's going to be bottled up in the backfield this time, right at about the 19-yard line. So a loss of about 4. So 2nd and 14. The first down marker will be all the way at the 6-yard line.
Yeah, Terod Woods that time. He made sure he had him wrapped up. 4 sacks this year. He's a senior, and, of course, just one of many guys on that defensive side of the ball that will be playing, on Saturdays soon. And they've got a lot of size over there, but the 3 down linemen they use do such a great job in tying up the offensive linemen to allow these linebackers to fly around and make plays.
3rd and 14. Amir split out in the flat. Surveys, good protection. It's a screen set up to Andrew Bingham, blocking out there. 20, 10, 5. He's in! Touchdown, River Ridge! River Ridge answers. It's 6-14 on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to go.
Guys, that was, they needed a drive, right? But I think, off the air we said, it's important to put up 3 or 7 right here. Those points they just put on the board right there were huge. And they may have to do that with Lee County bringing so much pressure over and over, especially when you're throwing. The screen pass may be vital tonight for River Ridge.
We'll have a conversation about that. Want to give a special shout-out to Greg Long out there listening to us. Buddy, appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate everybody tuning in this Friday night as we've got some great football action here for you. 14-6, pending the extra point. Scotty Rutherford gets it up, and it is through, but there's a flag down. We'll have to wait and see this one.
Yeah, Lee County was offside. Yeah, they jumped across.
This.
Yeah.
So it'll be 14-7. We expect, or will they have to re-kick it?
Well, I think
now they're going to talk to Coach Collins and try and figure it out here. Play the Jeopardy music.
But that last touchdown though, Will. We talked about it.
It will count. Sorry.
Yep.
7-14.
We talked about it coming into the game. They were going to have to work a little bit on the screen game or do something to try to keep this defense on their heels a little bit. And I'm not sure. Did that ball go through? I don't know. It might have been wide left. It looks like they're going to re-kick it.
Okay, so the official came over and said that it was declined. The Whitecap did. Maybe he didn't know that it was bad. Well, the football hasn't been moved. Maybe there was offsetting penalties. I only saw one flag. I'm not sure what's going on here, but they're going to try the kick again. Scotty Rutherford gets his leg through this one, and that one is good. So it is 7-14 after that. So with that being said, 2 minutes and 15 seconds left here to go. We'll keep the action right here for you as Ronnie adds up the spots from there. And Ronnie, what you got for us, partner?
Okay, that drive was 11 plays, a total of 81 yards, 6 rushes for 24, 3 of 5 passing for 42. A big 15-yard roughing the passer that helped add to it, and 3:48 on the clock.
All right. And, Dave, one thing I want to mention to you is when we were watching the Rome game, we were really impressed with Amir Morrison out of the backfield and felt we even had a phone conversation earlier in the week and felt like if he can get out in space, maybe that's how they need to utilize him. And they haven't done that so far, but Andrew Bingham has been able to do that, and that's how they got that point up.
Well, Morrison is such an influencer that, no matter where he goes on the field, he's going to draw most of the attention. That time they ran Morrison in motion to the far side of the field, and you could see all of the Trojans' defensive eyes go that way. And then on the snap, backside, near side screen, to Bingham. They set it up perfectly, well designed, well executed. Talked about offensive coordinator Tyler Jones' job he did last week. That was just a great play right there to get their defense on their heels just a little bit.
Scotty Rutherford sticks his hand up in the air, letting all the Knights know he is ready for the kickoff. And things feel a little bit more calm here in Woodstock. This is a good kick at about the 25-yard line where it'll be fielded. Lee County will set up a return. And they'll get it out to about the 35-yard line, but a pretty good job by the Knights there. And the defense will run back out for them, led by Brian Bradley. We mentioned the star defensive end for the Knights. they're going to have to try and find something. They had a lot of time to discuss what they needed to do, which is a good thing. It's the first time they've got to take a break so far.
Absolutely. You know, both these running backs are the return guys, too, so they were trying to kick it away just then from Juju McDowell because he's a guy that can definitely burn you, averaging, 31 yards a return. But you're right. Defense is able to catch their breath now. They started this ball game with their backs on the, at the 5-yard line, and then they were able to come out just a little while ago and had a chance on third down to get off the field. Let's see what they do right here.
Chauncey, the quarterback, slaps his hands it off to Preston off the weak side here, and he's rumbling forward across the 50-foot race. Connor Gross finally forces him out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. They'll mark it at the 36, so move those chains. Lee County way into River Ridge territory on one play.
Yeah, and you got to think, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I mean, on that last drive there, they get that turnover on the fumble that they said he was down, and all of a sudden it might be a different ball game. But right now, if you're River Ridge, you cannot lose focus defensively. They need some of these guys. You talked about Aiden Bruton, of course, Dorizo, Prasad, some of these guys to step up. Of course, we haven't called Brian Bradley's name much, but that's because they're trying to stay away from him here a little bit.
It's a handoff to Lawrence off the same side. And Aiden Bruton's the one that carries him out there, and it'll be a gain of about, 3 or 4, depending on the spot. 2nd and 6 or 7.
Well, the biggest thing right here, River Ridge got to wrap up. The too many yards after contact, is our colleague Larry Prather, of course, has not been with us this year, would say, yak. Yards after catch or yards after contact, and just too much. I mean, because the Knights have the initial hit right at the line of scrimmage about every play, but they're just not able to wrap up. First down contact has not been able to bring down the back, and they've got to do a better job of that.
3 wide receivers at the bottom of the formation. Turn around, it's a handoff to Juju McDowell, and he's going to keep fighting forward. Going to be real close. Going to be marked about a yard short of the first down marker, So 3rd and 1 here for the Knights as they're at the 29-yard line.
Yeah, in 4-down territories we talked about, when they cross midfield, they're going for it. I mean, it's almost a given. And so, obviously, 4-down territory right here, even if they don't get it on 3rd down, which you would expect anyway with short yardage. So, if I'm River Ridge right here, man, I load it up. But you got to be disciplined right there because they can lull you to sleep real quick.
And it's going to be a keeper up the middle by Chauncey. I believe that was Preston who ended up getting the football. But either way, it's enough for a first down. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to WLJA.
You're listening to WLJA FM 101.1 and WLJA HD1 LJ, Jasper, Canton, Woodstock, and all of North Georgia.
Thank you, Ace of Spades Jones, back on Master Controls, making sure we sound so good like we always do. Special thank you to him and everybody listening this Friday night. Lee County 14, River Ridge 7. They're going to run the ball here in a tight formation out across the side, and it looks like they're going to walk into the end zone. That's number 5, Juju Caleb McDowell. And Lee County answers. It's 20-7 pending the extra point with 29 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, that time they just ran over that left side, and I was going to say, I mean, between Kayshawn Sapp and some of the big bodies they have over there that like to run, off tackle and two-gap type stuff, and that time right there, McDowell just got to the outside, and River Ridge lost the perimeter. They kind of lost the container on the edge, and no one was there to make the tackle. A lot of running room in front of Juju that time.
Hunt puts his leg into this one. A much better kick than the last two, but the same result. It is up and through. 21-7 on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard. Ronnie, you got those stats for us yet, brother?
Yep. 5 plays, all 5 rushes, 65 yards. Time of possession, 146.
All right. One thing Lee County isn't doing is running a lot of clock with these possessions.
No, they're scoring quickly. They're getting big chunks. I mean, to go back 2 possessions, when River Ridge did finally have him in that 3rd and 9, they played it perfectly and just could not get Chauncey on the ground. You're not going to have a lot of 3rd and longs by Lee because they pounded at you so hard. But when you do, you got to take advantage of it. And then the other thing, it's 21-7. We're still in the first quarter. What River Ridge did not want was a shootout up in the 30s and 40s, I don't think, especially with that Lee County defense. So they're going to have to come over here, look at the video, and get some things figured out on defense.
And once again, this is a River Ridge team that does so well in the second half. You have to feel like if you're Coach Collins, maybe you're not telling your guys, but it may be in the back of your mind, if I can get back within a couple of possessions, or a possession would be great, but if I can get back and just get to look at some of the film, we can make some adjustments that we're seeing, then you have to like River Ridge's chances. But the score here, 21-7, with 29 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Been a very long game as we've had lots of discussions and lots of scoring in this one, as we already have 28 points on the board. Once again, this is Wyatt Hunt. And the kick is up, and it's a short kick up to about the 30-yard line, where it'll be caught at the 25 and carried up across the 30. So marked right down at about the 31-yard line where River Ridge will get to take over. So neither team after that has been able to get very good field position against the other team. They've been out across the 30 each time.
Yeah, Riley Canes that time they kicked it short, and Canes is like, I'm not shying away from it. He grabbed that ball, put his head down, and ran over somebody up across the 30-yard line. But, you're right, and from the Knights standpoint offensively, they got to continue to answer the bell and stay in the football game. Juju McDowell last week had 5 touchdowns in the first half. So, to put that into perspective tonight, the fact that he's only been in the end zone once, I know that's the silver lining. But, it is what it is. Offensively now, you got to eat up some yardage.
3 wide receivers split out. This one intended for Riley Canes over the middle. A good completed pass of a gain of about 4 on first down, 2nd and 6. And that's the thing, is that even when they split their guys out, they're still giving them 10 yards of coverage. So, as we mentioned, the offensive coordinator for River Ridge doing a good job finding his guys out there. That's Tyler Jones, the offensive coordinator. And take what they give you.
Exactly. Exactly. Final play here, it looks like.
And that is the end of the first quarter. We'll take a 30-second break as they discuss it, and we'll come back. You're listening to the Cherokee County Game of the Week on the Cherokee County Football Sports Network on WLJA FM 101.1.
Welcome to Perk Up. What can I get you?
Can I have a large, skinny, non-fat macchiato with
My 15-year-old has the taste buds of a middle-aged woman. But she's no adult. That's why we took her to Children's for her scoliosis. Their pediatric orthopedic program is nationally ranked. Their specialists understand growing bones and how to treat them. My kid ordering an adult-style coffee? Okay. Going to an adult doctor? Not so much.
Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Orthopedics. Where you take them matters. Learn more at choa.org/ortho.
Welcome back into the Cherokee County Game of the Week. This is the River Ridge Knights as they host the Lee County Trojans in the Elite 8, or the quarterfinals, depending on how you look at it, in bracket 6A in the GHSA State Playoffs for football in 2020. And what a 2020 it has been. We want to thank all of our sponsors and everybody that has made this possible. And, of course, we want to thank the River Ridge Knights for allowing us to cover them one more time tonight. And hopefully from here on out, if they can find a way to pull this one out, things looking a little bit dark for them right now, 21-7. But as we mentioned, we're just getting into the second quarter, so a lot of football left to be played.
Every team has a bad game. Every team has a bad quarter. And, so maybe they've gotten it out of their system right here. They've got the football. You go down, you score right here. It's a 7-point ball game. So, again, far from over right here in this Knights team. They've just got to grab some momentum.
4 wide receivers split out. It's a pass once again. Good protection. They only rushed 3. And unfortunately for them, that'll be enough for the Trojans to get him. He'll be wrestled down at about the 30 or 29-yard line, depending on which official they give the call to. And they'll give it to the near official, so at the 30-yard line. So 3rd and 11.
Yeah, Cameron Green, the 6'1 senior there, 230 pounds, was one of the first guys in there. But, if you can't block the 3-down lineman up front, it's going to be a long night, certainly. And that time, Lee County, one of the rare times they didn't bring pressure from the backers. They just rushed the 3, and yet those 3 were still able to get to him. They dropped 8, and Lathan just had nowhere to go with the ball.
3rd and 11 here, showing pressure. They do bring 5. Amir in the flat. Good protection. Jackson Head, that was intended for him, but nowhere in the vicinity. That'll fall harmlessly to the turf. And the Knights will have to punt here with 11:15 left to go in the first half.
Yeah, and they had Amir Morrison backside on a little screen if they wanted to go there. You like his chances one-on-one. There was a little bit of a cushion there. But, of course, the attention was to Jackson Head there, and the pass was just wide over on the far sideline there. So not ideal, but once again they got behind the chains there after that sack, and it's just such an uphill battle against this defense. It's only allowing 12 points a game.
Rutherford, the kicker, the punter, I should say, with his heels on the 15-yard line. A good punt this time. And it'll be fielded right about the 45-yard line, out across the 50. And that's McDowell, the running back. Look out, a flag comes in on the backside. We'll have to check that. But Connor Gross one-on-one with him, and finally he slows him down enough for the Knights to get him. If the play stands, it'll be out across the 10-yard line. But a flag comes in late. Let's see what it is.
Yeah, I think it's going to be on Lee County. I think it was a hold on them, if I'm not mistaken. That's what it looked like. It was away from the ball a little bit, which was unfortunate for the Trojans because it would have been a big return and had them set up, but I think this one's definitely coming back upfield.
And it was marked, the flag's laying in between the 37 and 38-yard line.
Yeah, they're all
Well,
over.
there's actually 2. There's one at the 45 as well. So let's see. The Whitecap having some discussions, and one of the side officials discussing with Coach Collins.
Yeah.
Seeing maybe which one they'd like to accept or which one they'd like to decline. They moved the penalty that was laying on the 40 to the 41 now.
Yeah, there were 2.
Two holding calls,
Yep.
and they will accept the one, I suppose, at the 41, and that is the River Ridge 41, so that would move them back 10 yards to the Lee County 41.
Yeah, they were flying all over right there. You know, they had one that was thrown up around midfield, two that thrown up around there, and then one that was thrown from the back judge basically down, you know, around the 10-yard line back towards the field there. And so, again, they declined one. And, that, you know, that's the knock. I mean, you know, the penalties and some of the things that Lee County has done this year at times. We saw it in their lone loss against Lowndes, which obviously, as we know, is a whole different animal there. But, you know, that they're the kind of team, though, because of the Jimmies and the Joes that you guys talked about, have been able to overcome that this year. So it hasn't been some glaring, you know, negative for these guys who remain on schedule. But nonetheless, that does give the River Ridge defense just a little bit of breathing room to operate from right here.
We'll get the first quarter stats for you after this play here, as Chauncey Magwood has joined alongside his two running backs, Juju McDowell and Preston Simmons. Three wide receivers split out besides those guys. It's a pass all the way. Good coverage by the Knights. One-on-one on the field, and that is incomplete. It looks like Connor Gross was out there in one-on-one coverage and falls harmlessly to the turf, 2nd and 10. Ronnie, you have those first quarter stats for us, my friend.
Yes, sir, I do. Lee County had 15 plays for 143 total yards, 10 rushes for 97, 4 or 5 passing for 46 yards, 5 first downs, 3 penalties for 20 yards, time of possession 6:25. River Ridge, 18 plays for 77 yards, 8 rushes for 32, 5 of 7 passing for 45, 4 first downs, 2 penalties for 10 yards, 5:35 time of possession.
All right, see what they can do here. Knights showing that they're going to rush 4, 3 wide receivers, technically 4 with the tight end in the slot. 1 running back and Chauncey Magwood, the quarterback. 2nd and 10. It's going to be a run by Magwood and the direct snap, and he's wrapped up. Only a gain of about 2. First one on contact was number 15, Hunter DeRizo, playing off the left outside linebacker position. So 3rd and 8 here as they move it across to the 46-yard line. The first down marker is placed at the other 46-yard marker.
Yeah, they like throwing to the big tight end, Tyrus Washington, 6'4", 230. They feel like he's a matchup problem against these DBs. For River Ridge, they're a little bit smaller, of course, for them. But they've taken a couple shots downfield, but great coverage on the play before by Gross, and then defense wraps them up. And as we said, you got to get in the field right here.
Magwood, 4 wide receivers split out. Simmons is one of those as well. Looking his way, has plenty of time, and it falls harmlessly to the turf. Incomplete. Number 4 wanted a flag. That was David Goodwin, as we mentioned. But we'll see. It looks like Lee County's going to run out their punt team here. So a good sign for the Knights as they get their first stop of the game.
I would say that was the defensive possession of the year right there for River Ridge, because if you go down 28-7 against the Lee County defense that we know is as strong as they are, you're up against it. They've kept themselves in the game at this point.
Micah Martineau is back to return the kick for the River Ridge Knights. The punter is Wyatt Hurst. He has 28 punts, a 39-yard average, and a long of 64, so he has a leg on him. His heels are on the 32-yard line. Lee County shows a few people in motion. The snap is back. Doesn't show a lot of pressure. Not a good punt here. And it takes a little bit of a bounce and a good fair catch signal from Micah Martineau. And River Ridge will take over at the 22-yard line.
Yeah, he did a good job right there. The ball hit the ground, but he had already signaled the fair catch signal. He came up and grabbed the ball in the middle of a bunch of white jerseys, but that was smart because it probably saved him, you know, a few yards with the bounce right there, rugby-style kick that would have presumably went a little bit more forward had it taken another bounce there. So, you know, if you're the Knights right here, again, your defense, you know, gives you a little bit of momentum right here. You've got 2 timeouts, 10 minutes still left. I mean, there's just so much time left in this ball game, so many things to happen. So, again, if you're the Knights, you got to be feeling pretty good, but you'd love to go down and get some points right here.
No kidding. 3 wide receivers split out. Amir Morrison and Carson Latham in the backfield. It's a keeper to Amir. And he's going to be wrapped up, maybe a gain of a yard, maybe nothing. It looks like they'll make it nothing, and it's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Barron Hobson, that guy you were talking about, Will, again with the tackle right there. Hobson, all kinds of college interest, 3 sacks, 63 solo tackles this year, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception. Really does a little bit of everything on that defense for this Lee County Trojan team.
He is the leading tackler with 121 total tackles. So really a leader there. Jawan Bailey also 14 sacks for him, so we'll keep an eye on that name. That's number 26, junior, 5'10", 235-pound backer. Amir Morrison finds a little bit of room. 30, 35, one man to beat, and he beats him. 50, foot race, 40. Cuts it back, 35, 30. He's going. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, River Ridge. Amir Morrison takes it into the end zone. What a run!
And I do apologize. I do apologize to Amir for saying he will not get an 80-yard touchdown tonight.
Wow! Amir Morrison answers back And it is 21-13, pending the extra point. River Ridge with lots of fight. My goodness, shivers down your spine here in Woodstock. Amir Morrison, the man bumbling, stumbling, as River Ridge will line up here for the extra point against Scotty Rutherford, the extra point kicker. It is 21-13, pending the extra point here on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard. We'll get the stats from that drive on the ensuing kickoff. Lee doesn't bring anybody, and the kick is up and through. River Ridge back within 7. It's 21-14. 30 seconds, and we'll be back. You're listening to the WLJA Game of the Week.
It's football time, and Brian Aaron at Woodstock Outlet has some great news for all the football fans.
Hey, y'all, we are glad to be a sponsor for these games and have a great time. Stay safe out there, and we just really do love being part of our community, and thankful we got the best customers a business could possibly have. And we built a new warehouse. We got it full for the pickup or delivery, so we're ready to go. Y'all come see us, and we sure do appreciate you.
The energy has changed here in Woodstock as Amir Morrison runs it a long, long way for a touchdown. It's 21-14 as River Ridge will be set to kick it back off to the Lee County Trojans. We'll get you the stats from that drive after the kickoff here. Scotty Rutherford once again on to do the kickoff duties for the Knights as they send back, they send back Juju Caleb McDowell for the back, and he's also joined by two other gentlemen. And that'll be Preston Simmons and JaVale Ferguson back if they need a little help. 9 minutes, 12 seconds left here to go in the first half. Once again, our score 21-14, the Knights down by 7. Making a change at the line. Connor Gross holding up a signal. And a short kick up at about the 25 where it will be fielded. 30. 35 runs back into the coverage. A good coverage there by the River Ridge Knights. They'll take over at the 35. Ronnie, what are your stats from the drive, my friend?
Two plays, 78 yards. The first run was 0. The second one was 78 for Amir Morrison, 56 seconds.
78-yard touchdown scamper. Von Brown, an apology?
Yeah, I Amir an apology. On the pregame show, I said, look, I don't think tonight we're going to be getting those texts or giving those texts going Amir for 80 yards. But the cutback around the 30 was absolutely, Dave made mention off the air a minute ago, that cutback at the 30 was absolutely incredible.
We'd like to apologize to everyone who's listening with headphones.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Lee County responds. They find themselves in a ball game now, in a game they seemingly had all the control of.
Well, the energy has certainly shifted. It's a run here, and a good run by Preston Lawrence, but a good tackle out there. Hunter Coleman was in on the tackle, but the first man to make contact was Liam Bruton and Chase Usher there. But still rumbles forward for a gain of about 6. 2nd and 4 is there across to the 41-yard line.
So you got to feel like if you're River Ridge, you've taken their best punch. I mean, if this is a heavyweight fight, they landed the first blow. They landed a couple big shots early to the body, but you've countered, and you're right in this football game, and you got a little momentum. Now you got to punch them in the mouth and let them know, hey, they're in a quarterfinal game. It's not going to be a cakewalk.
Turn around, handoff to, hard to see, might have been McDowell, I believe, and it was. It's going to be enough for a first down, so move the chains as they are across to the 46-yard line. Not into River Ridge territory yet. And as we mentioned, this is going to have to be a bend, don't break mentality for the Knights. You're not going to stop them on every drive, but it is a big stop last time, and it was able to put them back within 7. So just try and slow them down a little bit as they option number 33, Debo Roberts, who they don't make a jersey big enough for that young man. 5'11", 310 pounds at fullback, and the guts hanging out on his jersey.
Make no mistake, he's a guard playing fullback.
No joke. And they fumble the snap. And let's see, did River Ridge got the ball. My goodness! If it can happen, it will happen, and River Ridge gets it back. First down, River Ridge, as they take over at the Lee County 42-yard line. Chauncey Magwood tried to hand it off to Caleb McDowell. Miscommunication, and the Knights take back over.
Yeah, that time they weren't on the same page there. That ball just hit the ground, and they were both looking around trying to find it. Meanwhile, one of the Knights had a chance. They fell on it, and if they would have picked that ball up, they might have ran it 40 yards for a touchdown, but they'll take the turnover right here. We talked about it coming, and we talked about it last week, Will. Talked about it this week. Great equalizer in a football game outside of maybe some weather, which we don't have here tonight. It's a nice night, but it's turnovers. Mm-hmm. And so right now, you gave them the opening drive. Now they've given you one potentially right here.
One turnover each. Hand off to Morrison up the middle. Not a lot of running room there, and he'll be wrapped up by number 94. My goodness, what a young man there on the defensive line. Omar White, sophomore, 6'3", 305 pounds. Only has 16 tackles coming into this game, but 2 tackles for loss and 2 sacks.
Yeah, they've rolled their way through the playoffs. 49-17 there against Tucker. We talked about McDowell having the 5 first-half touchdowns last week. 48-21 over a Brunswick team that came in with a lot of high hopes. But right now, River Ridge has absorbed that blow, and now they have a chance to tie the game.
3 wide receivers. Looks back to the near side, has it set up for Bingham. 40, 35, stiff arm, 30, still running, 25. Finally forced out at the 25-yard line. Camden Cochran with the lead block out there. The star center moved those chains, enough for a first down.
Well, they've obviously seen something on tape as to this Lee County defense being too aggressive and attacking upfield. And the way you do that, as we talked about coming in, is you got to be able to swing those backs out of the backfield, run some screen games, do some different things to kind of keep this defense on their heels. And they've had success with that here in the first half. And so, again, a big play right there. They roll right. All the momentum goes that way. They throw back across the grain to Bingham, who has blockers in front of him, picks up the first.
3 wide receivers to the top of the formation. Amir Morrison in the backfield with Latham. It's a keeper to Morrison. Good blocking. Shifty. Almost to the 20-yard line. He'll fall forward at about the 22. A good gain of about 6. 2nd and 4.
Coming into the game, Dean Fabrizio, as we talked about it, and, of course, Vaughn mentioned it in the podcast when they got to interview the coach there, who, of course, was very gracious, stepping into enemy waters there early in the week, said that Amir Morrison's the best back we faced all year, so that the respect is there, and they see a guy that's, 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing, but, again, a guy that they're obviously getting a dose of right now. They're seeing close up, and I'm sure that, this defense, they got their hands on their hips here a little bit. They've been on the field a lot this second quarter.
Right you are. Amir Morrison will take a rest. Michael Martineau will check in at the slot for him. Carson has a little bit of running room, and he'll fall forward for a gain of about 1 there. Good play by Carson just to get back to the original line of scrimmage and actually gain a yard. So 3rd and about 4, ball at the 21-yard line. The first down marker looks like it's placed at about the 17-yard line.
A good job right there by Latham not to force anything downfield. It's not technically a sack because, as you said, he picked up a half yard there, just fell forward to get what he can, live to play another down. Again, 3rd and manageable situation right here. Just a nice job by Latham not to throw a pick or do anything down the field.
Riley Canes and Jackson Head to the top. Hard count. They'll have to discuss what they want to do here. Carson Latham barking orders to his offensive line. Once again, Andrew Bingham, the running back. And now they're going to make another adjustment. Play clock winding down, 2-1, and Coach Collins will take a timeout here. Try to discuss that. A smart timeout from Coach Collins. This is a big possession for them.
Yeah, a lot of a chess match really going on right now, and a little bit of pre-snap movement defensively. They saw something there. They tried to switch out of one look, then they tried to switch into another. Play clock was winding down. They were I think they would have gotten that ball off, but Coach Collins did not want to take a chance. He burned the second timeout. They still have 1 left here with 5.5 to play, down by 7. But a good timeout right there because, 3rd and 5 against this defense, makeable. 3rd and 10, we've already seen it here in this first half. You just very small percentage. You got a better chance to win a lottery than you do picking up the first down.
All right, here's an open debate. 3rd and 5, make it 4th and 5. Do you go for it?
21-14. I think Scotty can make that. I think we saw him make one at Creekview, get it to 21-17 worst case. I would go ahead and get the points on the board if you do encounter that 4th and 5.
Dave?
That's a 49-yard field goal. I mean, that's a 39-yard field goal, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, within his range, I wouldn't disagree with Vaughn on that. He's definitely got the leg, but let's hope it doesn't come to that. If it's 4th and 2, they go for it.
I'd like to see Jackson Head right now. 3rd and 5, I'd like to see Jackson Head get a chance.
The name we haven't heard before is Ethan Hand will check into the game at running back for River Ridge. And Dean Fabrizio's coming out to the 30-yard line to have a discussion. So not sure what they're seeing as the Whitecap will come over and play stopped here. So we'll let them sort it out. Dave, any ideas for it?
No, I'm not sure. They were looking over at the other sideline there as well. It's like I said, it's a chess match. Both these coaches making a case for the team.
All right, Ethan Hand, as we mentioned, in the backfield. 3 out to the middle. It's Jackson Head. 10, 5. Flag comes in late. Let's see. He's going to be stopped right at the goal line, but it'll be enough for a first down. But there's 2 flags that came in, one at the end there and then one over there. And it's going to be an offensive pass interference and a face mask, says Ronnie on the spot.
Yeah, these may be offsetting right here. It's a well-designed play, just a slant to Canes, and Latham put the ball right on the money. But again, I mean, if the play stands, which I doubt it will, but if it does, it's first to go for the 1 yard line.
There is one against Lee.
Yeah.
So we did see the down judge signal that, point towards the Lee County side, so we'll have to see as the Whitecaps discuss it.
Yeah, I think more than likely we'll be playing this down over again, but we'll stay optimistic. This is such a big drive in this football game right now, really for both teams, because if you're Lee County, you feel like you've dominated this game, and yet you only find yourselves up a touchdown, and now your defense has their heels, their backs to the wall here, and then all of a sudden, River Ridge, you feel like, as I said, you've taken their best shot, and it does still look like it's going to be on the Knights here.
So we'll have to see what the call is. And then an offensive pass interference. So they're both against the Knights. So the play will not stand. So I believe offensive pass interference is a 10 or 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, I believe it's a 10-yard here. But, yeah, now, and the only bad thing about this is it kind of, for the moment, you're out of field goal range at this point. So if you're the Knights, you still got third down right here, but you've got to pick up a pretty good chunk of yardage even to think 3 here at this spot. Third down and better than 20 right here. So, that penalty unfortunately pushes you all the way back out across, the 35, out past the 35 there. So now if you're Lee County, you pin your ears back right here, you bring pressure and make Latham get the ball out of his hands quick, because you don't want them to set anything up. But let's see what they decide to do.
Well, clock running, 5:18 here. Lots of motion here. They do reset the play clock now. Surveys only bringing 4, lots of time, and pleated over the middle. And flag comes in against number 18 of Lee County. Wow, they're going to be upset about that. Oh, boy, I'm not so sure about that penalty. It looked like a good hit, but A.J. Patrick was one-on-one, and another flag comes in as well.
Well, that was a great – and I'm not saying there wasn't head-to-head contact there, but there was a great sales job by the coaching staff of River Ridge.
And it is a personal foul against the Lee County Trojans for the hit.
They came unglued over here on the sideline and really sold it, and that line judge pulled the hanky out of his pocket and tossed it in there. Now,
I will tell you, that was a pretty clean hit. If as far as the defensive back goes, you can't coach it any better than that.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Now they're having another discussion, and the Knights are marching back. It's still a personal foul. Not sure why they had to. Oh, they have to mark it off from the original there.
Yeah.
So that's why they walked it back there. The pass was incomplete. I believe it was intended for Riley Canes, who got rocked there by number 18, A.J. Patrick.
So now we're right back where he started. 3rd and 5, from the 23. So, here we go.
An automatic first down for a personal foul? All right. So 3rd and 5, as you mentioned. So let's see what they can do on 3rd and 5.
Yeah. A lot of high school penalties, they've taken out the automatic part of it. Yeah.
All right. Amir Morrison back in the game. 3 wide receivers split out. It's a bootleg off to the right-hand side. Surveys. It's a screen set up for Riley Canes. And he's going to be real close. He fumbled it, and they're going to mark it down. It would have been recovered by the Knights anyway for a first down. But they're going to be a couple of yards short of the first down marker.
Yeah. So now your decision time.
Yeah.
And I think, at this point, you're back in. How greedy do you want to be? I mean, you're back in Scotty Rutherford, range here if you decide to kick the field goal, and that's what it looks like they're going to do.
Connor Gross comes in. Carson Latham is the holder. So it does lend itself to some quote-unquote trickeration. Jackson Head and Riley Canes are the 2 guys that will be blocking the ends here.
39-yarder.
Let's see, from the near hash, the hold is good. The kick is up. It's high. It's long enough. And it is in! Great kick by Scotty, and a new long for that young man. Long coming into this one was 37. It's 39. And the Knights are back within 4. It's 21-17 on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard. We'll keep the action right here for you. Ronnie, do you have the summary from that? I know you have to add a lot of penalties there, partner.
I've got it. It was actually a total of 5 plays since the penalties don't count. 3 rushes for 16 yards, 2 of 2 passing for 14. 15-yard penalty on each team in the middle of all that. And then the 39-yard field goal, 3 minutes, 38 seconds.
All right. Well, if you could have told the Knights that you're going to fumble the opening kickoff and with 4 minutes left to go here in the first half, that you're within 4, they'd probably take that deal.
Well, I mean, it was 21-7. The Lee County offense was back on the field with great field position. And I'm telling you, the River Ridge defense did exactly what they had to do to get that stop, and all of a sudden they scored 10 unanswered points. We've got a new ball game, but you're still they're going to depend on that defense for a while now. They've still got to get some more stops.
Right, you are. 4 minutes and 18 seconds left here to go in the first half. Once again, Scotty Rutherford, the man who just made his longest field goal of the year, will come on to attempt this one. Puts it right on the original X that encircles as the new turf has been put in Cherokee County in 2018. They use it for lacrosse, soccer, and football. So get a lot of use out of these stadiums here at the Ridge. Rose checks with his guys. Once again, the same trio back for Lee County if they need a return. The kick is up. And it's going to be caught at about the 23-yard line and returned out to the left-hand side. Not a lot of Knights out here. And it's a good return. 50, 40, one man to beat, and he will. 20, 10, and McDowell runs it across to the other side. Still not in, and finally takes it in. Touchdown, Lee County, as they return 27-17, pinning the extra point with 4 minutes left to go.
Well, that time it was a cat-and-mouse game. There's a lot of pre-movement going on before the kickoff. The Knights recognizing that, calling some different things, but right as they approached the football there for the kickoff, McDowell and the upback switched spots. And McDowell came running up to the 20-yard line to take his place because they want the ball in his hands, and we know why, obviously. So they're doing everything they can to try to deke the kickoff team into getting them to kick the ball to number 5, and, of course, they made him pay.
So here we go on to attempt the extra point. Once again, that is Hunt. 48-52 on the year. The kick is up, and it is through. So 28-17 here on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard. We'll take a 30-second break, and we'll be back. You're listening to WLJA Game of the Week.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Sosby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Sosby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
Welcome back to the WLJA Game of the Week. The Cherokee County Game of the Week, even.
There you go.
Whatever you want to call it. We associate all the two. Amir Morrison will be back to return this kick. As we mentioned, Wyatt Hunt, the brother of Adam Hunt, they switch off on kicking duties. Adam Hunt is the one that does the point after, and Alex Collins is the field goal kicker. They've only attempted 2 field goals all year. 3. Austin Hunt attempted 1 and missed it. And then Alex Collins is 1 of 2 with a 37-yard long. And then Wyatt Hurst is the kickoff man. Spotted on the 40 on the far hash from us as they kick it off from left to right across your radio dial. A good high kick. Amir Morrison will track it, and it'll be out as a touchback, real close to going out of bounds again, but they will take over at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, Lee County is a team that beats you a lot of different ways. They've scored 5 defensive touchdowns, and they've really scored about every way you can. I mean, they've scored, 60-something touchdowns this year, 40 rushing, through the air, a punt return for a touchdown, kickoff for a touchdown. They've blocked kicks for touchdowns. So they beat you a lot of different ways. And that time, as we talked about, just a big special teams battle going on within this game here tonight. And River Ridge doing everything they can to try to kick it away from Juju McDowell. And Lee County trying to do everything they can to make sure that McDowell is the one on the receiving end of it. And we saw what happened right there as he, took it and came near side to the wall, and a lot of room.
McDowell is a South Carolina commit. It's going to be a pass here from Latham. Amir Morrison out in the flat. He'll be complete at the 20. Makes a man miss. Wow, what a move. It's only going to be a gain of about 3, but number 15 will have to go back and find his ankles.
Yeah, Anthony McGrady, number 2 as well, getting faked out there. And so, 4 yards, you're on schedule. That's what you need, as Vaughn said. Maybe not a lot of big chunks of yards, although we've seen it at times. But, you're getting 3-4 yards a pop here against this defense. You're staying on schedule. Just got to eliminate the penalties and the mental mistakes. Got to stay on schedule. And if they do that, they'll be able to get first downs.
4 wide receivers split out. Amir Morrison in the backfield. It's a handoff to Amir. And he's met immediately. Bounces off of 1, bounces off of 2, and a face mask finally comes in. Also a flag from the official on the backside. We'll have to keep an eye on that and make sure they both agree on it.
Here's the thing about Morrison, such a low center of gravity for these big, tall guys that we're talking about for Lee County. It's hard to reach down and try to grab something. It's hard enough to get cloth on Amir, but they're reaching. We've seen a lot of hands going across the helmet stuff here tonight. As you said, they finally get a face mask call right there, which will give them the first down.
Yeah, that is probably the second face mask of the night. The first call, though, there was a pretty egregious one earlier. But nonetheless, that'll be enough for a first down. So move those chains. The Knights get a lot of help from Lee County. As we mentioned, Lee County, a very talented team, just not so smart and not very disciplined as they move it out across the 40-yard line. Move those chains. River Ridge will line up here. It looks like they'll have 3 wide receivers. Jackson Head, Riley Canes across your left to right across the formation. Andrew Bingham, and it's a keeper to Amir here as he's met right at the line of scrimmage. Gain of nothing right at the 40-yard line, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, this Lee County defense, as we talked about, last year, quarterfinal team, their 4th trip to the quarterfinals, and they were rolling right along last year. The playoffs looked like they were going to make it, another state championship, 3 in a row. They won it in, of course, 17, 18, and, last year, though, they ran up against Decula in the quarterfinals, and Decula had thrown a lot of things at them they weren't ready for, and Decula really took advantage of that ball game. So big time, for Brizio, definitely wanting to get back to that point and using that as a teaching moment for this team.
Latham, 4 wide receivers. It's intended out to the middle. Looks like that was intended out towards Andrew Bingham, but good coverage, and it'll fall harmlessly to the turf, 3rd and 10.
Yeah, I ran a wheel route that time. Outside receiver breaks the route off 5 yards. They had Bingham in the slot. It kind of came out of the backfield area there, and about 10, 12 yards downfield, kind of curled over towards the sideline, but good coverage there on the back end from that Trojan defense. We haven't talked a lot about, these corners, Wynn and Patrick do an outstanding job. A lot of, interceptions between these guys. Patrick with 6 on the year and 16 passes defended, which I know was your favorite stat last week.
It is. One of those unsung stats. 3 wide receivers here. Tight end will help block. Latham escapes. He's got a man deep. And it's just out of reach of number 4, Preston Cox. It'll be 4th and 10. Good improvisation and good blocking by the Knights, but they'll be forced to punt this one away.
Yeah, very unfortunate because, as you said, Preston Cox, the senior, downfield there, open up against the sideline. But, again, Latham running to his left. The right-handed quarterback just kind of had to throw back, try to set his feet and make a big play there, and just couldn't quite get that ball on the money that time as it sailed out of bounds.
Rutherford, the punter. Lee County bringing everybody, and it's blocked. And there's nobody back for the Knights to return this one. And number 30 will be down there. So the blocked punt will be taken over by Lee County right at the 26-yard line with 2 minutes and 9 seconds left to go in the first half.
Yeah, these guys block a lot of kicks. That's the one thing. I mean, you talk about state championship caliber teams. These guys spend an awful lot of time on special teams. And, they've blocked 4 punts this year. They blocked a field goal attempt. Of course, they force a lot of fumbles anyway, and they've had 5 special team scores to go along with 5 defensive scores. So we knew coming in it was going to be a tough matchup, and River Ridge was going to have to be sound in all 3 phases.
And they picked their moments, too. They haven't come after every punt, but they brought the house on that one. And you said it on your podcast, Dave. They score in a lot of different ways. It looked like it was going to be there, too.
Yep.
But instead, they'll take over at the 26-yard line. Magwood will hand it off to McDowell. Out across the 20. Good open field tackle. I believe that was number 24 after the bad kick. That's Connor Gross. Scotty Rutherford redeeming himself as it's only a gain of about 3. So 2nd and 7.
Yeah, Scotty Rutherford, 131 total tackles, leads the team, 2 for a loss. And, of course, you talked about Connor Gross. He's made a lot of tackles here tonight, over 103 guys on this defense, over 100 total tackles this year. Of course, the other one being Brian Bradley.
The 2 senior safeties, a big part of this River Ridge attack. And it's a handoff to McDowell over the middle. Still rumbling forward, bounces off a few guys, touchdown. So that will be McDowell's 3rd touchdown of the night, his 2nd rushing touchdown. He has 1 from a kickoff return, and a flag comes in late, and it'll be a celebration penalty. So we'll wait for them to clear up the hankies here.
Well, just very unfortunate because just a few minutes ago, it was a 4-point ball game, and you kind of had to feel like River Ridge had taken their best shot, but the wheels have kind of fallen off here, over these last few minutes of this second quarter, and now all of a sudden, River Ridge basically in a situation where they're going to come out of the locker room in the second half with a little bit of a hole. And let's not forget they got to kick off to Lee County to start the half because Lee County won the toss and deferred. So, again, a situation right here where definitely an uphill battle, not out of the game by any means, but, yeah, these last couple minutes have really set you back here a little bit.
And the unsportsmanlike conduct against Lee County, as we mentioned, not very disciplined and not very smart. That'll be enforced on the kickoff. So the standard 2 yards back with the spotter on the 10. The kick is up, and it is through. So 35-17 on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard. We'll keep the action right here for you as we've got 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, River Ridge all year long. We've seen them a lot of times on Friday nights. We've been here or covered them at Creekview. Really never did anything to beat themselves. I mean, you got 21 points now out of the 35 that came on a kickoff return, recovery at the 5, punched that one in. Kickoff return, and then the block punt. So, 21 points off of, to Dave's point, little quirky plays, mostly special teams that against a team like Lee, you just cannot afford to give that to them.
And you guys talked about it. I mean, 44 points this year, I think, off of those quirky, kind of plays this year for Lee County. And when you're playing a team that's already putting up, 38 points, and a lot of that being offense, and they're putting up, 400 yards again. They had 458 last week against Brunswick in round 2. You can't get behind schedule. You can't allow those plays to happen. And so, again, the Knights doing everything they can to hold off this team. But the wall is starting to break a little bit, and now you're starting to patch those holes here. And you just got to hope that maybe you can get this ball right here and maybe possibly make something happen with 1:29 and timeout because, again, you do have a short field. They're having to kick off from the 25-yard line with the 15-yard penalty.
A score would be big here, as they are currently down 18 after the extra point. So it's 35-17. Amir Morrison will stand just a couple yards shy of the 20-yard line as they will try to set up some kind of return here. Lee County once again does their weird foot kick hand thing before they kick off. And they do, and it's going to be a real short kick, and it's fair caught by Hunter Coleman right at the 50-yard line, maybe the 49's where they'll mark it. So if you're the Knights, you take that penalty, or you take the penalty and the yardage all day if you can take over right at midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Short field to work with right here. Your best starting field position basically of the night other than when you got the turnover there on that last drive or two. But, the situation right here, we got plenty of time. Got 1.5 minutes, got the timeout. You put up points right here, and you're right back in this ball game.
We'll get you the drive summary after this one. Is there a 4 wide receiver split out, Amir Morrison and Carson Latham for the Knights. Lee County showing pressure from 5, and they bring that many off the side. It's completed to Canes, makes a man miss. 45, and he's going to be brought down right at the 45, so a good gain of about 6. They're going to have to hurry here as the clock's winding.
Yeah. Canes not shying away from the contact, though.
Canes, a big guy himself, 6'1", 210.
Guys, I still think they got to get the ball back in Jackson Head's hands a little bit and let him make some plays after the catch.
And this time it's a handoff to Amir. It's going to be real close to a first down. It's going to be about a yard short. Not sure about the play call there with the running back draw. Play clock's under a minute now.
Yeah.
So 3rd and 2. A lot of time being burned here. 4 wide receivers split out. Jackson Head up the top. And a flag comes in. It's going to be a false start against the Knights with 44 seconds left.
Yeah, tough one right there. I think the draw play, trying to keep the defense off balance, anticipating the pass right there, hoping that maybe, Amir could find just a little bit of a seam to pick up some yardage, and then, maybe you get down there, you get the first down, you stop the clock on that. But, again, he was wrapped up there, and nice job by Lee County in the middle. Trojans, as we talked about, they really like to bring a lot of pressure up the middle. They've got some great backers. I mean, really solid all the way around. You talked about the LSUs and the Georgias, and I wonder if any of them boys are looking at Reinhardt, because
well, probably.
You got to.
I can tell you one thing at Reinhardt is they'll teach them how to commit so many penalties. Amir Morrison out in the flat. Latham surveys, puts his all into it, and it's just intercepted right over the middle. I believe that's number 8 on the interception, or maybe number 6, Deron Willis. So Lee County will get it at about the 46-yard line with 27 seconds left to go.
Well, the good thing is you ran a lot of time off there, so now, at least for River Ridge defense, they don't allow them a whole lot of time to do anything. But the only thing here is that Lee County has all 3 timeouts,
right.
So they can definitely take a shot or 2 downfield if they decide to do that. But, yeah, that time Latham under a little bit of duress, just a great break by Willis right there, who has his 2nd pick of the year. A very opportunistic back end of this defense, really play well at all 3 levels, as we know. But now if you're River Ridge right here, you just can't give up anything cheap before the half. You got to keep this a 35-17 game.
4 wide receivers. Running back in the backfield is Preston Cox, excuse me. And it's completed under the middle, makes a man miss. That's to Goodwin. And that was a lot of running around for not much gain, a gain of about 2 as the timeout comes in with 17 seconds left.
Yeah, that's when you hold them up right there and you don't let them fall.
Right,
down.
just keep moving.
Yeah, and that's what they were doing. I mean, a lot of navy blue shirts around the football right there, held them up and, kind of forced the referees to blow the whistles. And so that play right there took about 11, 12 seconds off the clock. And,
gain of nothing.
Yeah.
So, well, if you're River Ridge, you can the best you can do here is keep them to an 18-point lead. As you mentioned, they will have to come out and kick the ball off to Lee County, and you start trying to figure out your times and when you want to take your shots here.
Yeah, you talked about it being a second-half team. There's the opportunity there. Like I said, you don't want to give up anything right here. But, you want to come out of that Foundation Financial halftime locker room and be ready to play. And, it's they're probably going to take a shot down the field because they know they have to right here. And, in the first half we've seen it, Tyrus Washington has been their go-to guy. They love throwing to the big guy. Listed as a tight end. They split him out wide, though, 6'4", 223. They like the matchup against the smaller corners. So, look for them to maybe take a shot down the field here to one of those big, tall receivers or that big tight end.
It's going to be important for both Connor Gross and Scotty Rutherford to keep everything in front of them here. Obviously, come up and make the tackle, make them take the timeout, keep everything in front of you, and force it back to the middle of the field. As you mentioned, Tyrus Washington playing the fullback position here, picking out his block. And they fake the quarterback draw. River Ridge only bringing 3. And it'll be dumped off to number 4 here short. And he does fall out of bounds. And the clock's still running. There we go. Now it's stopped with 15 seconds left. I don't think the clock started with the play.
Yeah.
Because there were only 17 seconds left, and that play definitely took more than 2 seconds.
Right.
But nonetheless, it was completed to David Goodwin over here in the flat.
Well, that time they split out Juju into the slot, and they had a one-on-one matchup, and that time they were trying to get it to him deep, but the pressure was good by the Knights up front, so it forced Magwood out of the pocket and away from the post route that they were trying to sell. And so Magwood only had one place to go with the ball, and that was the outlet here up against the boundary here on the near side. So, again, they were looking deep to take a shot. Nice job, though, by the Knights because really the back end, I mean, you guys can only cover so long. You're only as good as those guys up front, and that time the Knights got after it and forced him, out of the pocket and to make a little bit quicker throw than he wanted to.
As we mentioned, Cohen Liner, Chase Usher, and Micah Martineau are all the defensive backs that you'll see split out. If they do need 4 defensive backs, then Andrew Bingham normally comes in to fill that dime role. And then normally if it's a 5 wide receiver set, you'll see Connor Gross come up from his safety position. Yeah, and they decide to run the clock all the way down to 10 seconds. So, indeed, they did not start the play clock or the game clock when it needed to.
Third down and 3.
So 3rd down and 3 here. Lee County with 1 timeout, 10 seconds left to go, 46-yard line. 4 wide receivers split out, Tyrus Washington, the tight end. Magwood slaps his hand, surveys. It's a run all the way. Good blocking, and he's going to fall forward to about the 34-yard line with 4.3 seconds left to go, and you have to assume that'll be where they're going to try and set up a field goal.
Yeah, they burned their last time out, so I doubt that, take a shot to the end zone, although you never know. You would think they haven't attempted many. That's what we've talked about. They've only attempted, 2 or 3 field goals all year long as a team. Right. So, again, this would be a pretty long one. This would be about a 51-yarder, if they decide to kick it from the near hash. So they might just toss it up right here, 4.3. They know it's the last play. The Knights, unless they, intercept it and run it back, they're not going to have any kind of an offensive snap after this, assuming they can get the ball, down the field. So I don't know. They may just decide to line, everybody up to one side there and just let Magwood chunk it up into the end zone.
Watch McDowell on a screen pass. Anytime he's been in any kind of space, he's very difficult for River Ridge to tackle.
Earned all 3 of those stars for sure. As we mentioned, he is a senior. Preston Simmons a senior. Chauncey Magwood a senior. David Godwin a senior. And 3 of the 5 offensive linemen for this team, all seniors. On the other side of that for River Ridge, Cohen Liner, Scotty Rutherford, Connor Gross, Chase Usher, Hunter DeRizo, Liam Bruton, Aiden Bruton. And then all the defensive line will return, but all the linebacking core and the secondary will graduate.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to line up for a long field goal attempt right here, so see what they have. 51-yarder.
Number 15, the holder for Lee County. And I believe that is Hunt on to attempt it. It's going to be well short. It'll land about 3 yards off to the side, and that'll do it for the first half of football. Our score here, 35-17 in favor of the Lee County Trojans. We'll move into halftime on the Foundation Financial Halftime Show. 2 minutes, and we'll be back. You're listening to the WLJA Game of the Week.
At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we believe that your insurance protection and wealth management plan go hand in hand. We start by shopping your insurance with highly rated companies to find you the best combination of price and protection. With that plan in place, we can then work with you to develop a tailored financial plan. Whether you need to save money on insurance or you need a full financial plan, call us at 678-880-9571 or come by 670 East Main Street in Canton for a no-obligation consultation today. Securities and advisory services offered through Packer Land Brokerage Services Incorporated, an unaffiliated entity, member FNIRA and SIPC.
In times of uncertainty, it's nice to know that there's still some things that are certain. Hi, I'm Dave Garner here, your local Woodman Life representative. I want to make sure that your family is protected with needs-based life insurance through Woodman Life. Life insurance has many benefits. It's not just something that's there when you pass. It's mortgage protection, family savings, debt relief, replacing lost income, and overall peace of mind. Some companies sell it because they have to. We sell it because it's what we do. Call for a free quote today or visit me online, and let's make certain that you're protected from today's uncertainty.
It's football time, and Brian Aaron at Woodstock Outlet has some great news for all the football fans.
Hey, y'all, we are glad to be a sponsor for these games, and have a great time. Stay safe out there, and we just really do love being part of our community, and thankful we got the best customers a business could possibly have. And we built a new warehouse. We got it full for the pickup or delivery, so we're ready to go. Y'all come see us, and we sure do appreciate you.
Game on! Football's back, and we're celebrating at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County. Get game-winning offers right now. Drive the best-selling 2020 Nissan Rogue, or check out the redesigned 2020 Sentra. If you try it, you'll buy it. They're that good, fun, and affordable. Catch the savings now before they're gone. Only at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County, across from the Holly Springs Walmart. Online at NissanNorthAtlanta.com. Remember, if it doesn't say Sutherland, you paid too much.
Welcome into the Foundation Financial Halftime Show. I am your host, Will Cooper, joined alongside the whole cast and crew. Everybody's keeping their headset on. Dave got all of his peace teas before game, so he's all y'all set up over there, Mr. Razzleberry and Lemon Squeeze boy.
Hey, man, I'm good. I just do it just because I know you give me a hard time.
All right.
It's the only time I drink them, but, you know, it's what they got here at the concession stand. It's still going, and, hey, I'm excited.
Von Brown to the far right of me, and to the near right of me is Ronnie on the spot, Ronnie Cooper. Ronnie's got the stats and figures from this first half. Ronnie, give us an update, my friend.
All right, first half stats. Lee County, 28 plays, 201 yards, 16 rushes, 148 on the ground, 6 of 9 passing for 53, 6 first downs, 5 penalties for 15 yards, 9-12 time of possession. It's actually pretty close. River Ridge, 33 plays for 183 yards, only 18 yards between the teams, minus the 75-yard kickoff. 17 rushes for 114, 9 of 15 passing for 69, 6 first downs, 4 penalties for 30 yards, 14:48 time of possession.
Wow.
When you look at Lee County, they're just even across the board. Nobody has huge numbers. McDowell, 6 carries for 42 yards. Simmons, 5 carries for 35 yards. And then Chauncey Magwood at quarterback has 4 for 41. There's nobody that stands out. Amir, though, for River Ridge, 11 carries, 113 yards, and he's within reach of the 2,000-yard season we were talking about.
So it only need about 55, really 54 more to make that mark, and that would be a big deal for Amir Morrison. And keep in mind, folks, as we mentioned, he's only a junior. It feels like we've been calling his name for 28 years now, but he is only a junior. He's just been doing it for so long and so well. So thank you to Ronnie on the spot. Before we get into that, our man Von Brown has some score updates, as he always does. Glad to have this man back. And before we mention that, we do want to point out Fannin and Fitzgerald playing up there. They're at the half. Fitzgerald was up 28-7 at last note over there, as they're at the half, as we're at the half here. Vaughn, you got some score updates for us, buddy?
Yeah, all the 6A games right now, the other 3 games, everybody is at the half. Valdosta and Carrollton, a little bit lower scoring there with Valdosta and Carrollton, 14-9. Valdosta does lead the Carrollton Trojans. The Buford Wolves, they're tough. They're all over the Hughes Panthers, 23-0 at the half. And then you've got Westlake Lions up 20-10 on Alatoona. We knew Westlake coming in, making that drop down from 7A to 6A was going to be a tough out for anybody, and they're handling Alatoona at the half.
Right, and our score here is 35-17. And, want to get back to the stats real quick that Ronnie was mentioning, And when you take away the three really big plays of the game for Lee County, it was the original muff that allowed them to score on a 5-yard possession, and then it was the kickoff return for a touchdown, and then it was obviously the blocked punt that gave them the short field to score there. If you take those three out of the equation, you're talking about, obviously we can't do that, you're talking about taking away some of the biggest plays of the game, but it would be a much closer score here. You're looking at 14-17. Maybe you give them a touchdown on one of those possessions anyway and say that they would have had 21-17. But still, you're not looking at a 35-17 number that they're facing now.
Yeah, 21 points literally on, just plays that you just can't afford. And to your point, not to say they wouldn't have gotten, 7 or 14 even in a different way or on offense, but, they had 144 yards in the first quarter. They only had 57 yards in the second quarter, but the reality was they really didn't have to have their offense because they had the kick return and then they had the short field after the pump block. So, again, playing a team like Lee County that's been in this situation and been deep in the playoffs so many times, you cannot afford to shoot yourself in the foot, and that's exactly what River Ridge did in the first half.
Right, you are. And, you look across the board here, and the thing that I've really kind of been preaching to some folks and stuff like that is that the folks from River Ridge do a really good job coming out of the halftime. They are very, very, very good at keeping their way and finding a way to adjust to the second half. Of course, you're talking about an 18-point deficit they're going to have to climb out of. And that is no easy task, especially against the number one team in 6A, according to most rankings.
Yeah, and it's a situation where you knew coming in, it was going to be hard to match up one-on-one, as far as, mano-a-mano, against guys that are a lot bigger than you. So we knew from a schematic standpoint that River Ridge was going to have to be very creative in what they did. And for the most part, offensively, putting up 17 points on a half against these guys is as much as they've allowed all year long and a half. So offensively, you've managed to stay on schedule. You've only punted the ball a couple times in this first half. You've put up 17 points. You've kept them off balance, with a lot of screen passes, working guys out of the backfield. They've had this Lee County Trojan defense on their heels a good bit of this first half. But as Vaughn said, just some of those quirky plays, 21 points off of, block kicks and stealing possessions and a kickoff return and special teams type plays has just really hurt this River Ridge team here in the first half. But otherwise, like you guys said, you take those plays out of the equation, and right now, this ball game's still very much in doubt and certainly not over with yet, even as it stands right now.
No, far from it, especially when you consider the ability of the Knights to score. This is something that they've done all year. You're talking about a team that averages, let's see, that's the Lee County stats there. We're talking about a team that averages 34 points per game, and they score 9.8 points over what teams average allowing. So, they're used to this, and they're a spread run first team, as we know, and Amir Morrison already over 100 yards on tonight. You're talking about a kid who does it day in and day out. During the season, Vaughn, it kind of became a running joke from us. It's like, okay, so is he going to take it for 70 yards on the first possession or the second possession? And it was here on the second possession for him. Bounced it outside, 78 yards, enough for into the end zone. And then you look at the other side of that coin, Lee County, 12 points per game. They're going to keep teams 11.4 points less than what they average scoring. They do have 23 turnovers that they have forced on the year, 15 interceptions, as we mentioned, a very good ball-hawking secondary, and 8 fumble recoveries. But really, if you want to take the true turnovers in the sense of non-special teams mistakes, River Ridge has the advantage, as they were the ones able to force the fumble from Chauncey Magwood in the handoff there, and was able to take that for a field goal at least to get this back within 18 instead of 21. But, at the end of the day, you're talking about a team that does very well. They forced 74 negative plays during the regular season, and they have 38 sacks. And as we mentioned, they have 8 non-offensive touchdowns. So across the board, Lee County is no easy customer. And if you're the Knights, obviously you don't want to talk about the end of the season. There's a lot of football left to be played, but you're really trying to find an answer here.
Yeah, we saw Amir have a rough first half over at Creekview, and, I think he had 13 or 18 yards in the first half, and that's just very un-Amir-like.
Right.
Because, like you said, we're usually getting that text saying he just went for 74. But, the week after that we interviewed – obviously they come back and win that game. We interviewed Mike Collins the next week, and, one of the comments I made to him was you never saw Amir's body language, frustration, motion, anything out of him. And the same thing tonight. He's taken some shots, and he's been hit at the line of scrimmage more times than not, obviously. I think Lee County learned a lesson pretty early in that first quarter of you're not just going to throw him. You know, that his low center of gravity, you're not just going to throw him down. So you did see them start gang tackling a little bit more, and they were wrapping up, and they were getting him on the ground. But one thing I will tell you about Amir Morrison, and like you said, he's closing in on 2000. It'll be a very special junior year, especially to get it against a defense like this that does not give up rushes. You will not see him quit. You're going to see him come out and give you everything you had. They're going to have some help for him in other means. I go back to Jackson Head. I'd like to see the ball in his hand just to see if he can make something. He's that big physical kid that could make something happen after the catch.
Right, and as you mentioned, a guy that's been very quiet. We haven't called his name all night unless it's been on a block for the most part, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're sitting in there in the halftime trying to figure out what they need to do with him. This is going to be the halfway point on the Foundation Financial Halftime Show. When we come back, we'll give you a whole bunch more analysis, and we'll get you set for the kickoff of the second half between the River Ridge Knights and the Lee County Trojans. Our score here, 35-17. 2 minutes, and we'll be back on the Foundation Financial Halftime Show. You're listening to WLJA FM 101.1.
Are you paying too much for your car or home insurance? At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we represent dozens of highly rated insurance companies. We can help you develop the right protection plan for your family and then search to find you the best combination of price and protection. Call us today at 678-880-9571 or come by and see us at 670 East Main Street in Canton for a free, no obligation quote on your home, auto, business, or life insurance. Securities and advisory services offered through Packer Land Brokerage Services Incorporated, unaffiliated entity, member FINRA and SIPC.
Can't time Will. We've got great tires and we've got great deals.
I'm Cooper.
And I'm Caden. Hey. And that was Camden.
We're Mr. Danny's grandsons, and we want to tell you about Ken Tire and Will. They are automotive specialists. They can take care of all your automotive service needs.
Tell Steve and my poppy that you heard us on the radio next time you call Ken Tire and Will at 770-479-6556. Remember, you'll be entirely spoiled at Ken Tire and Will. See them for all your automotive needs.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Sosby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Sosby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
When you are the official sponsor of the comeback, adding a few feet to a drive matters.
First down.
So does shaving a tenth of a second off a lap. Top-rated surgery, physical therapy, and motion analysis by the sports medicine team at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta helps young athletes not only prevent injuries, but heal faster and return stronger, ready to win. Our more than 25 orthopedic and sports medicine locations are ready to assist your athlete's comeback. To learn more, visit choa.org/sportsmed.
You're listening to WLJA FM 101.1 and WLJA HD1 LJ, Jasper, Woodstock, Canton, and all of North Georgia.
That was the voice of Ace of Spades Jones back on Master Controls, making us sound so good like he always does. I'm your host, Will Cooper, joined alongside Dave Garner, Ronnie on the spot, Ronnie Cooper, and touchdown Von Brown making his first appearance into the playoff production booth. Want to wish a welcome to him. Also, notably absent from tonight is our good friend Arthur Mosley, the best dressed coach in all of Cherokee County, possibly the world. Rocks the suit better than anybody else I've seen. Also a man who can sing, does a great job rocking the cowboy boots. Good-looking guy. I tell you, man, he's like the triple threat.
Most talented guy on the crew, yeah.
I tell you.
We don't have him tonight. So, hopefully the Knights find a way to pull something out here in the second half. We have a game next week. Maybe he can join us. But, yeah, making the transition into basketball season. And even our very own Von Brown is doing a little bit of that, too. But he's here tonight with us. So
Von, how are the junior – you teach
seventh grade. Junior Warriors girls for Matt Cates. We did lose in the championship game in the Christmas tournament to Walton. But we followed that up Saturday and beat them by 18. So we got potential. We can make a run, but that seventh grade age, man, like you don't know if they slept that night or not, and anything can happen. But it's a fun team to coach. It really is.
Got a lot of ties here to Cherokee County, as we mentioned. Cherokee, Sequoia, all over the place. You know, Dave, I think back when you graduated high school, they might have still been using like stone tablets or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
weather helmets. I mean,
Leather
you know
helmets,
the whole
yeah.
thing.
That's what's wrong with you.
That is. See, you figured it out. My secret is out now.
Well, you know what it is. Hey, look, our score here is 35-17. We talked about everything that happened in the first half. Let's break down what's going to need to happen in the second half for each team. For Lee County, as we mentioned, it's a little bit different breed of football. They're a South Georgia team, and a team that most likely is just going to keep on running the football. And, Vaughn, as you mentioned, they're not likely to step on the brakes anytime soon. If they can put up as many points as they want to, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, they made the 4-hour, 5-hour trip up here on some nice charter buses, brought the band. Brought half of the band, and they still have about 130 band members over there. That was worked out between the superintendents. But no, they're not gonna drive 4 or 5 hours and then call off the dogs in the second half. River Ridge is going to have to get stops, and as we were saying off the air, they just need something to go in their favor a little bit. You know, and this first possession is going to be critical. You go down 42-17, and I don't know where you go from that point.
Right, I agree. And I think for, River Ridge, I've touted this for probably since the Creekview game. They're a second-half football team. They're very good at the adjustments. We were sitting here when they faced Centennial. It was 7-7 at half, and we're thinking, man, after that Creekview game, they've got the hangover, the big win hangover. You're thinking, are they really going to lose to a Centennial team that had lost 6 games in a row, hadn't even put up more than 14 points against an opponent, and then they came out and put up 24 unanswered. Now, we don't expect Lee County to let that happen, obviously, but we do expect the Knights to make it a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, in a situation where you look back at that round 1 game, I mean, they gave up the 34 points to Kennesaw Mountain, but then they came back, last week and only allowed 10 to Rome. So a situation where it could very well be a tale of two halves. Sometimes you just got to get into the locker room and make the adjustments. Lee County's also going to make some adjustments as well because, River Ridge was able to beat them in the screen game and being able to slip backs out and keep them on their heels a little bit. So I'm sure Coach Fabrizio's over there kind of talking to his troops a little bit and trying to get them to be a little bit more disciplined as far as, following these guys. And they really got killed with the backside screen. So I think for River Ridge, you got to think, okay, Lee County's going to be ready for a little bit more of that in the second half. What else do we have, deep in our playbook that we haven't thrown at these guys yet? Coming into a game like this, the one thing you want to do is you want to try to take away the one specific thing that the other team does the best and make them beat you a different way. And to Lee County's credit, they came out in the first half and they threw the football. Yeah. They haven't thrown for a lot of yards, but 2 of their touchdowns came through the air early in the first half. So, again, I think you've done pretty well to try to make them do some different things. But the biggest thing I see is not really a scheme. It's just it's wrap it up. It's making tackles. I mean, there's a lot of good attack by this River Ridge defense in the first half, but too many missed tackles. Guys are breaking tackles. McDowell's just slippery, as we talked about, hard to bring down on first contact. So got to do a better job in the second half of the fundamentals more so than the scheme. I think the scheme is there. It's just the fundamentals were lacking a little bit in that first half.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 2 Amir Morrisons over there, plus Chauncey Magwood can keep it and go, and it's and the offensive line moves people. We said, we can't have Lee County having 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 3s because we know if they're in that situation, they're probably going for it on 4th as well. They had that 3rd and 9 early, let Chauncey Magwood slip out. They also held them to a 3rd and 8, but everything else has been 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. When they've even gotten to that point, honestly, there weren't a lot of 3rd downs for Lee County in the first half. And then if you look on the other side, River Ridge has had 3rd and 11, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 10. So, they're putting themselves a little bit of disadvantage because a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 against Lee County's defense is not an ideal situation.
No, not by a long shot. And I think Lee County, as far as the adjustments make, the pressure is off of Lee County. Just keep doing what you've been doing. And that's the thing is we talk about how well they run the football, and that's what they're going to do. And there's not a lot of adjustments that River Ridge can make to that they haven't found in the week so far. So if you're River Ridge, you're really trying to find the game-changing play. You got to steal a possession somewhere. You really have to steal 2 because they're going to come out here. You're going to have to stop them here because if you're talking about, you mentioned this, Vaughn, if you're talking about a 42-17 game, you're talking about a game that's really, really getting out of reach in a hurry, especially considering the running game of Lee County. They have the ability to run the clock out. On the other side of that coin, if you're able to stop them or get a turnover or something, you're talking about a 35-17, maybe a 24-point, 24, and your 11-point swing. That's a little bit better to work with, and that's what I would say is that last touchdown that Lee County got, especially on the kickoff return, if River Ridge was able to find a way to bring them down and keep them from scoring that scoreboard looks a lot better to me. But obviously what's done is done, and you have to move on and teach your guys to do what they can do. But if you're River Ridge, like I mentioned, you got to steal possession somewhere. And this is a team that doesn't turn the ball over a lot. But with the way they've been throwing the ball, Chauncey is not a great pass thrower at all. And if they're going to continue to keep throwing the football, it might be time to try and tell your guys to press up a little bit and play some really hard one-on-one coverage. And that's a big ask from a guy like Chase Usher and Cohen Liner out there, but it's what they're going to have to do.
You may not see Lee County put the ball in the air the second half, and I think what River Ridge really has to be careful of obviously get the stop, but, you still got to run your offense. They have to be careful not to try to get all those points back in one throw,
right.
Because Lee County, they will press up and they will be very aggressive, knowing that River Ridge needs to score quick, because to your point, Lee County can take an 80-yard drive and run almost an entire quarter out if they choose to do that.
Well, the difficult part's going to be if River Ridge decides that they want to try and best way to put it is that they've used a lot of the underneath throws to set up their offense so far and gain that on the screen plays. The problem's going to be when Lee County decides to only rush 3 and they have 8 guys in coverage, and then what are you going to do? They're going to have to find some kind of release valve or something that they can do to make things a little bit easier. As an interesting dynamic going on here as the two teams are coming out, Lee County is allowing their kickers to practice on this goal line, and they're not separating them at the 50. They're separating the field right in the middle. And as we mentioned, there was a lot of jaw going on before the game even kicked off and even during the game. So keep an eye on that over there, but it looks like everything's clean and official over there so far in this one.
Yeah, usually you have to warm up down on the end, and they're trying to tell Lee County to go. The rest of the team's down on the other end of the field there, and they're kind of stretched out over the whole 100.
Yeah.
So I think they were trying to motion to them to try to move down there, and they're not budging. So both teams are warming up dangerously on the same end of the field.
No kidding. I don't know if COVID doesn't exist in South Georgia, but it doesn't seem to anyway. Looking across the way here, and obviously the amount of folks that are stationed over there in the Lee County side, from fans to everything else, it looks like they sold all 500 tickets, brought all 130 band members from half of their band, and filled out 100 different jerseys here. As that'll do it for us on the Foundation Financial Halftime Show. We'll take a 2-minute break, and we come back. We'll bring you the second half of action from the Ridge as the River Ridge Knights look to come back against the Lee County Trojans. 2 minutes, and we'll be back. You're listening to WLJA FM 101.1.
Are you paying too much for your car or home insurance? At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we represent dozens of highly rated insurance companies. We can help you develop the right protection plan for your family and then search to find you the best combination of price and protection. Call us today at 678-880-9571 or come by and see us at 670 East Main Street in Canton for a free, no obligation quote on your home, auto, business, or life insurance. Securities and advisory services offered through Packer Land Brokerage Services Incorporated, unaffiliated entity, member FINRA and SIPC.
As an athlete, you put it all on the line each and every day. Training, skill, and dedication. It's with these same characteristics that Pinnacle Orthopedics puts it all on the line for you, ensuring that you continue to play the game you love. With 5 locations and 16 physicians and surgeons, Pinnacle Orthopedics is the team physician for Kennesaw State University, as well as for many other schools and teams. Using only the latest technologies, Pinnacle Orthopedics is dedicated to keeping you at the top of your game.
Game on! Football's back, and we're celebrating at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County. Get game-winning offers right now. Drive the best-selling 2020 Nissan Rogue, or check out the redesigned 2020 Sentra. If you try it, you'll buy it. They're that good, fun, and affordable. Catch the savings now before they're gone. Only at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County, across from the Holly Springs Walmart. Online at NissanNorthAtlanta.com. Remember, if it doesn't say Sutherland, you paid too much.
The #1 magazine to read is Enjoy Cherokee. This beautiful full-color seasonal publication keeps you in the know with articles about interesting people, fun events, hot restaurants, and cool ideas. Enjoy Cherokee is for busy people who enjoy a lifestyle magazine worth reading and keeping. You'll find Enjoy Cherokee available at most high-traffic locations and mailed free to homes throughout Cherokee County. Join the thousands who don't miss a single issue. Follow us on Facebook and find issues on EnjoyCherokee.com. Ask for a free publication and enjoy.
Welcome back to the second half of high school football here. We've got a lot more football to go. Stay tuned because things aren't over yet. 35-17 is our score. As we mentioned, the River Ridge Knights did get the opening kickoff, so they'll have to kick it off to the Lee County Trojans. And we've got 45 seconds left here on the clock for the teams to organize themselves and get set for the kickoff. The refs doing some sprints, getting stretched back out here as the temperature's falling quite a bit, but still a very comfortable night, especially considered to last week. Guys, onside kick.
Well, yeah,
Out of bounds.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you kick, and Ronnie, I think as Ronnie brought up a good point, you kick the ball out of bounds, you give it to him on the 35 or whatever, and heck, that's worst case scenario. You haven't really had him inside the 35 yet anyway, so yeah, might do a little bit anything right here.
Let's see what they can do.
Regardless of where they kick it, it cannot be to number 5, Juju McDowell. Know where he's at and kick it away from him and make somebody else take it to the house if you're going to do that.
And it'd be a good idea, if you do the onside, you got to steal a possession or two
somewhere
in the second half anyway. So what better time to do it than right now? You got to try to sell out right here, but they'll more than likely kick it deep. But, 1 point real quick for the kickoff, guys. you got 2 coaches here, Michael Collins and Dean Fabrizio, who before they got to their respective programs, didn't have a winning tradition. Lee County's been playing football a long time. They only had 2 winning seasons up until Fabrizio got there, 12 years ago. So, a situation where he's done a great job, and we all know what job Michael Collins has done in just his second season here at River Ridge, taking these guys as far as they've ever been, and just, a winning season or 2 before he got here. So just a great job by both these programs, regardless of what happens here in the second half.
And, of course, we hope Michael Collins would stay in the county. It seems like he's pretty happy at River Ridge. Of course, there's been a lot of coaching changes going on around our area, but we hope that he decides to stick around at River Ridge for a while. He is a Cherokee County native. Happens to know Dave Garner fairly well. Scotty Rutherford will do the kickoff duties. And they're going to move the down men all the way up to the 20-yard line, so not expecting anything deep. And let's see what they decide to do. 12 minutes on the clock, and it's going to be some kind of onside kick, and it's going to be fair caught right at about the 48-yard line. So not sure if they were trying – there's a flag here. Let's see. Not sure if they were trying to onside kick it or just trying to do something kind of funny with it. Let's see.
Yeah, one of the Knights may have come across the line a little earlier there on the kickoff.
And
I don't know.
It looks like they're going to decline it. That's what the motion over on the sideline is.
But, yeah, that was interesting. Just kind of pop that ball up in the air a little bit. But one of the guys on the front line with the fair catch, and, of course, you can fair catch the kickoffs just like you can the punt, so you got to allow him a chance to catch the ball.
Well, they're going to re-kick it. They're spotting it back at the 35-yard line.
So they weren't satisfied with having it
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, isn't that something? They had the ball at the midfield stripe, and that's still not good enough.
So they do trade some packages here, and they bring on some more wide receivers. So it'll be teed off at the 35-yard line now. Scotty Rutherford once again, the kicker. Brian Bradley runs off the field. Dylan Prasad as well. So those guys were on the original kickoff team, but no more. And here we go.
For real this time.
For real this time, maybe. 5 up against the line for Lee County, and then 3 and 3. And this time it is a deep kick. A great kick. Scotty gets all of this one way back at the 10-yard line. And let's see. They set up the return, and a great tackle by Scotty Rutherford. My goodness, both sides. And they get it out to the 30-yard line. Actually going to mark him at about the 33, it looks like, but all things considered, a pretty good job by the Knights, especially after the 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, you're kicking that ball off from your 30, and he almost put that ball in the end zone. It was a great job there by Lee County Smith Pinson to go back and retrieve that ball at about the 5-yard line and got upfield and got just outside the 30-yard line. But you're right. All things considered, job well done that time by the coverage unit.
So, a make-or-break drive here for the Knights and Lee County. Chauncey Magwood, as we mentioned, the quarterback, coming back out here. Looks like he'll be joined by Preston Simmons in the backfield, number 21. The Lightning to the Thunder and Lightning package, but 4 wide receivers outside of him. Even line, 4 down linemen for the Knights. And it's a pass all the way, a screen, and it's fumbled backwards. Oh, wow.
It's a live ball. That's
live
a live ball, yeah.
And he's, wrap him up, guys, and it's still going backwards. Let's see what they finally call here. It's going to be incomplete, it looks like. And the Knights fans not happy with that one, and they have every right not to be. That looked pretty backwards to me.
Yeah, that definitely looked like a lateral. And they were slow to get that ball, and, they picked it up way back inside the 20-yard line, and then, the Knights kind of stopped on it too, but then realized, okay, the whistle hadn't been blown yet.
Yeah. So they're going to discuss this one. And this is a big play on first down.
It's not the first one we've seen tonight. They threw another pass that would have been considered a lateral. It was completed.
Right.
But it actually goes in the stat book as a run play that they had early in the ball game. But, you got to wonder, that definitely sets up a double pass, but they are just going to wave it off.
And it is incomplete.
Boy, and
the
the coaches
River
are
Ridge
livid,
fans,
yeah.
And they have every right to be once again. Coach Collins going to have to be careful here as he's trying to get the get-back coach here. And he is giving him an earful. He's going to, oh, boy, he's got to be careful there.
Yeah, well, he has every right to be mad. These guys have missed a lot of calls here tonight.
They are definitely from South Georgia.
Yeah.
So GHSA should be ashamed sending some of these people up here. But Preston will once again join him in the backfield. Tyrus Washington now at the tight end position here. It's another pass all day to throw. One-on-one coverage outside. Cohen Liner, and incomplete. Good job by Cohen to use the sideline, as that was intended out there for Javale Ferguson.
Yep.
But it'll bring up now 3rd and 10 after the incomplete pass there. I almost said 2nd and 10, but 3rd and 10. So the Knights, good job so far.
Yeah, great job by Liner there. Using that boundary as a corner, that boundary is your best friend. You use that sideline almost as another defender, and that time he was able to use his body to kind of push the receiver out, made the catch, but he was out of bounds when he did so, down on the other 30. So goes without saying, a big play right here if you can make him go 3 and out on their opening drive.
3 wide receivers. It's another pass, 3 straight passes. Brian Bradley gets in his face, but Tyrus Washington is completed out to him. Connor Gross out there on the tackle, but that'll be enough for a first down. Move those chains out across to the 47-yard line. Dave Garner jinxed them.
Yeah, well, Lee County doing to River Ridge what River Ridge did to Rome last week. Picking up big chunks of yardage on 3rd and long, and that's 2nd or 3rd time tonight we've seen that the Knights have just been unable to get off the field in those situations. And just a big stat, 3rd down, not able to get off the field.
Let's see what they do here. Bunch formation, and they'll rotate it over from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. And it's a fake there, and it's another pass. And the clock will continue to roll. That pass was completed to, I believe that was McDowell on the reception there.
Yeah. A situation where they don't throw the ball a lot or at least get a lot of chunks of yardage in the passing game, but when they do, they're effective because you just have to honor the run so much with the way they're able to run the football.
The Knights showing 5 down linemen. And that's what they do, a big run here. And it'll be enough for a first down. That was McDowell on the carry. So move those chains as they're out across the 34-yard line.
Yeah, McDowell, of course, well over 1,000 yards now. We talked about Amir hitting the 2,000-yard mark potentially here in the second half. McDowell over, 1,000 now. He was just shy of it coming into the game. But, again, if you're River Ridge right here, you gotta buckle down a little bit, tighten up.
Bunch formation here. Lots of weight. And Magwood kept it. And now he's going to be wrapped up. Original contact made by Hunter DeRizo held him up long enough for Liam Bruton to come help him out. So a loss of 3, 2nd and 13.
Yeah, got to get these guys behind the chains. Good penetration that time. First tackler didn't necessarily make the tackle, but you're right. He turned him in enough until the cavalry was able to get there, and they were able to drag him down for a 2-yard loss.
Liam a little slow to get up there as he's the middle linebacker here. Splits Hunter DeRizo and Aiden Bruton, his brother. 3 wide receivers. The running back is Preston, quarterback Magwood, and Debo Roberts, as we mentioned, the fullback, really a tackle, 5'11", 310 pounds, leading the way. And it's a bootleg out to that side. Surveys, and it's going to be complete out there on the sideline, real close to a first down, but short by about 2 yards. That was completed to David Goodwin.
Well, I think Fabrizio answered our question of are they going to keep the gas pedal down. I think they threw the ball more this drive than they threw it in the entire first half. So They are going to keep trying to put points on the board.
3rd and 3 here, a big 3rd down here. If you stop them here, you have to feel like maybe a field goal opportunity, although that's not what Lee County's known for. But let's see what they decide to do. Of course, you do have to stop them before we can have that conversation. Lots of weight on the left side. Now they're going to motion both of them. Now they're going to motion 3 people. They finally get set. Snap it. It's a quarterback draw all the way. Chauncey's got lots of room. He's met hard by Scotty Rutherford there. But it'll be enough for a first down by a yard to move those chains. They're out across the 29-yard line.
Yeah, they just overloaded the right side of that offensive line at a couple of fullbacks and H-backs and quarterback keep all the way there. They just got behind the big offensive line, and they're almost always good for at least 2 or 3 yards automatically in that formation. They do run some unbalanced stuff, and that time they just loaded everything up to their right, moving left to right, and got the first down.
Clock winding, just over 9 minutes here to go. As we mentioned, on the 29, moving from left to right across the radio dial. McDowell here on the run. He's only going to gain about 4 there. Stopped right at the 20-yard line. So 2nd and 6 after the run.
just methodically moving the football down the field. And, if you're River Ridge, I mean, you obviously want to find a way to get off the field right here, but really this is playing right into what Lee County wants to do. They just want to move the ball down. They've got a lead. They want to eat up some time. They know they got a long bus ride back, tonight, so trying to make quick work of this Knights team here in the second half.
Whole bunch of weight in the backfield here. Misdirection. Chauncey's going to keep it. Faked everybody out. Stiff arm on Scotty, but finally decides to run out of bounds after a gain of about 3. So 3rd and 3 here. Clock stops with 8:29 left to go in the third quarter.
Yeah, and we talked about, the personnel changes. I mean, obviously coming into the game, Magwood starting the year as a receiver, as you said, Kentucky bound as a wideout, but had to move into that quarterback role, and he's been very serviceable, as we know, throwing the football when he's had to, but also beat you with his legs. And just like having another running back there, we talked about it with, of course, McDowell, Simmons, and we haven't even seen McWarden much here tonight as well. They've got 4 or 5 guys that can tote it.
Well, as you mentioned, Magwood checks out here, and it's a keep by McDowell. He's going to be real close to the first down. It looks like he'll get enough for it, and he will. So move those chains as they mark it at the 13-yard line, knocking on the door here with 8:23 left to go.
Well, credit River Ridge. I mean, they're making them work for it.
Right.
But this drive is almost 4 minutes old already here into this third quarter, and they're, just not able to get off the field here. And as we said, this is a dream for Lee County. They're eating up clock, yards, and the scoreboard right now. So, again, not in a hurry to snap it right here. And haven't seen a lot of long, sustained drives, from this Lee County offense. They're usually quick strike, but at least the Knights making them work for
Chauncey
it.
Magwood in the wide receiver position. McDowell met in the backfield, but going nowhere, and he's leveled by a couple of River Ridge Knights, going to be back to the original line of scrimmage. So good defensive stop there from the Knights. And it was interesting, Magwood lined up at the wide receiver position, which, as we mentioned, that's his position of choice, and he's a big old guy, 6 foot 192, 3-star, committed to Kentucky. So, but the direct snap there to McDowell didn't go anywhere for him.
Yeah, and they will. They sometimes throw it to him from other people. I mean, Magwood does have 11 grabs this year. A couple of touchdowns, moving in that quarterback slot there. But they still like to throw him out there every once in a while just to give a defense a different look.
Under 7 minutes here to go, running off a lot of clock, as you mentioned, Dave. 3. Here we go. Snap. Magwood surveys, had a man open, but incomplete. Way too over his head. That was intended for David Goodwin. He's 5'11", needed to be 6'11" for that one. Chase Usher on the coverage did a good job.
Yeah, a quick slant right there. Usher into the middle of the field with the in the hip pocket there. And passed just a little bit too tall there. Of course, they had Goodwin open for just a second there, but Magwood unable to put that ball on him, and so now big 3rd down and 10. And, this is right here. You've bent, as you talked about, but you can't break. And how nice would this be if somehow or another the Knights were able to turn them away, presumably over the next 2 plays, with this being 3rd and 10.
Right. 3 wide receivers to the top, lots of weight to the bottom. That's where they're going. They've got the first down. It looks like it's going to be real close. Stopped at the 11, short about 2 yards. You have to expect Lee County will try and go for this one.
Yeah, this is 4-down territory for them, anytime they cross midfield.
They're running out the field goal unit.
Yeah, well, that's all righty.
So
goes against conventional wisdom of what we've seen from them this year, certainly.
So they've affectionately referred to them as Riverboat Dean. Of course, that's a segment to Riverboat Ron Riviera, who was the head coach for Carolina Panthers for a long time, now for the Washington football team. So Hunt on to attempt this kick. It'll be from the near hash to us as we are sitting on the home side of the field. The kick is up. And it is no good.
Wide right.
Wide right. So the Knights get a break. So they do run off a whole bunch of clock. But no harm, no foul on the scoreboard. 35-17 still our score. We'll keep the action right here for you.
Well, normally that's a situation where they would go for it, as we talked about. Yep. But Coach Fabrizio recognizing that as they move into the, presumably into the semifinals and possibly the state championship, it may come down to a field goal like that.
Yeah.
So they're trying to work on a lot of different things here tonight. And so, again, it may come down to a field goal in a championship game. They're lining up going for it right here, and plenty of leg and everything else. He just missed it wide to the right.
See what they decide to do here. Send a man in motion. That's Bingham. Hand off to Morrison. Going nowhere. Maybe a gain of a yard, and it will be a gain of a yard. So 2nd and 9 there. Just not easy sledding there. Cedric Wynn has had one-on-one coverage on Jackson Head all night long and doing a good job doing it.
Yeah. Really has. If you're River Ridge right now, you just want to win the quarter. If you can outscore them, you touchdown better than them in the third quarter.
Yep.
touchdown better than them in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden things get interesting. So, you're down 35-17, but, you didn't give up any points on that drive. You turned them away, without any points. So
Right.
that's a win for this River Ridge team. And now offensively, you've been sitting out, you've been sitting a long time. Got to sustain first downs right here because defense, you don't want to have to put them right back on the field.
It's a handoff to Bingham, and he's going nowhere in the backfield in a hurry. And he'll be marched down right at the 20-yard line, so back to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So 3rd and 10.
We talked about, the worst thing that can happen right here, that River Ridge defense on the field, all of this quarter so far, 3 and out right here is what you're staring at if you're the River Ridge offense. You don't want to have to put your defense right back on the field after they have been out there that long and made such a big stop. So this is really 3rd and 10, is Vaughn, and we've talked about all night long. It's not where you want to be against this defense, but this is a big play right here. If somehow you can pick up the first down, you really need this even more for your defense than your offense.
Latham will have 4 wide receivers here. Andrew Bingham fakes the handoff to him. It's a screen set up for him, and a great play by number 19 for Lee County, keeping it in the front of him, Barron Hobson, as we mentioned, the 4-star linebacker. And that pushes him all the way back to the 15-yard line, and Scotty Rutherford will have to come out and punt this one on the 3 and out.
Yeah, really the worst thing that could have happened for the Knights, right here offensively, because now you got to give the ball right back, 3 and out. They're probably going to have pretty good field position here, maybe around midfield. Now your defense, they got to come out from the tent and get ready to line up again.
See what they can do. His heels are on the end zone. A good kick, though. No rush after this one. They will set up a return, though, and they do well. 40, 35, still running. 30, 25, and he's going to take it to the house. And there's a flag coming in late and an injured Knight, so we'll check the penalty marker, I believe.
That was McDowell. Yep.
Okay, McDowell there. And the shaken up Knight, he's up to his feet now, was the punter, Scotty Rutherford. Well, let's see the penalty here on the backside of the play.
I'll give it to Scotty on kickoffs and punts. He's
runs,
still one
man.
of the first guys down there. Obviously, with that many tackles on the season, he loves contact, and he wants to be a part of it.
Still having a discussion here on the penalty marker.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. They're huddled down there around the 14, and
now we'll get a call. And they're going to pick up the flag.
Oh, man.
So touchdown, Lee County. So it'll be 41-17, pending the extra point after the punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah, McDowell picking right up where he's left off really all season long, and so now he has a kickoff return and a punt return touchdown here tonight to go along with the rushing. So he himself has scored 3 different ways. And that's how we talk about this Lee County team just beats you up because they can just burn you in so many different directions.
No kidding. So on to attempt the point after the missed field goal is Hunt. The snap, the hold, the kick, and it's up and through. So it's 42-17 on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard. We'll take a 30-second break, and we'll be back. You're listening to WLJA FM 101.1.
As an athlete, you put it all on the line each and every day. Training, skill, and dedication. It's with these same characteristics that Pinnacle Orthopedics puts it all on the line for you, ensuring that you continue to play the game you love. With 5 locations and 16 physicians and surgeons, Pinnacle Orthopedics is the team physician for Kennesaw State University, as well as for many other schools and teams. Using only the latest technologies, Pinnacle Orthopedics is dedicated to keeping you at the top of your game.
Welcome back into the Cherokee County Game of the Week. I'm Will Cooper, joined alongside Vaughn Brown. Dave Garner went down to find himself some calories to wash away his sorrows. Our score here, 42-17 in favor of the Lee County Trojans. They'll be set to kick this one off with Amira Morrison standing at the 5-yard line. And as we mentioned, 28 points now off of special teams and non-traditional offensive points.
Yeah, again, just a formula. You needed that to go in your direction a little bit. And we know River Ridge doesn't score a ton on special teams or block punts and things, but Lee County's obviously sees opportunities to score in that fashion, and they have to a tune of about 28 points. And again, just could not afford to get behind in that fashion.
See what they can do here. 4 minutes and 17 seconds left to go in the third. So stay tuned for the Sosby Funeral Home postgame show. We'll wrap up the season. If it comes down to that, we'll wrap up all the area, and we'll get you ready for 2021 if we possibly can. So let's see what we're set here to do. Once again, Lee County does the weird high-five thing, just making sure everybody's there. Maybe can't count very well. And the kick is up here, and it's going to be short, kind of a squib to the 30, and the Knights just fall on it. And folks wanting a flag there, a little bit of extracurricular, but it's not going anywhere. The Knights getting in there, not appreciating it. You have to give River Ridge credit. They're certainly not shying away from any extracurriculars.
No, they're not. And, I mean, you have to. And I was going to say that earlier when Lee County was on offense. On both sides, they put a lot of people on the ground every play.
Yeah.
Just because you don't have the ball doesn't mean you're off limits for that defense, because they will put you on the ground.
Right. So when Coach Collins coming over to speak with the officials saying, hey, man, come on. But Coach Collins going to have to write a letter to these guys after this one. And he's got a lot to complain about.
It's been a little one-sided.
It's been a lot one-sided. 4 wide receivers here. Amir Morrison in the backfield with Carson Latham. They'll get back to their offense, and they're going to swing it out off the fake to Bingham. He makes a man miss out across the 40, real close to the first down marker. Going to be about a yard short. 2nd and 1 here, and he runs out of bounds. So the clock, well, they're going to mark the clock as running. So 4:03 left and still running.
I like it, though. Get that 2nd and 1, and now you got some options. You can run Amir. You can go deep if you need to. Just don't take a sack and give yourself a 3rd and long after you got this short down.
So Amir will be checking into the game, also joined by Riley Caines there. He takes his position. 3 wide receivers besides those 2. Takes the handoff to Amir, misdirection. Latham rolls out of the pocket, fires way, just got out of the tackle box and dumped that one into the stands. Jackson Head was also in the vicinity, so no intentional grounding. Clock stops with 3:37 left to go, 3rd and 1.
Yeah, keep that 3rd and 1, manageable distance, and didn't take a sack and just got rid of it. Really was nothing there.
3rd down and 1. So we'll have to find something here. Not in a hurry-up offense for sure, but also keep in mind the incomplete pass stops the clock at 3:37 left in the 3rd quarter. So just about 15 minutes left of game time here in total. Turn around, and it's a handoff to Morrison, and he makes a couple people miss. Tried his best to get back to the line, but wasn't able to do it. So that'll be a loss of about 4. So 4th and 5 here, and the Knights will have to decide if it's time to start going for it or if they want to punt it. They are at their own 36-yard line, in between the 36 and 37-yard marker, and they're going to run out the punt team.
Yeah, they thought about it for a minute.
Oh, hey.
Oh,
How's it going?
Hey.
If that's 4th and 1, 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and unfortunately lost 3 or 4 yards there and just didn't put them in a situation where they're at on the field to go for that.
Scotty Rutherford back. Lee showing pressure, but they'll set up a return instead. A little bit of an oblong punt, kind of got off his foot a little wonky, but it takes a great bounce. And it'll be spotted right about the 21-yard line, so they do pin him deep with 42-17.
Yeah. In a situation right here, I mean, you get the there is a flag down at the 48, but
yeah, this is they're having a little Coach Collins having a little come to Jesus moment with number 23 Connor Gross, and I think everybody on River Ridge's side feels a little cheated here by the officials.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, they don't, it's easy to blame the officials, but
it's also easy when it is their fault. Yeah, I mean, look, we're not in the business of blaming the officials. We're not, and that's Dave.
Yeah.
You and I try very hard not to, but this has been very embarrassing for the GHSA.
Yeah.
If this is supposed to be one of their best crews, and not saying that personal foul necessarily, I didn't see it, but just the duration of the game has been incredibly, incredibly embarrassing for the GHSA.
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out, Josh Shaw, Coach Josh Shaw, Cherokee Warriors, over there listening at home and tuned in and texting. He had 3 huge offers this week, and we've been wondering. You had a A.J. Swan, a Darius Harshaw, and Keith Adams Jr. with massive years for the Warriors, and it's starting to come to fruition. South Florida goes ahead and offers all 3 of those guys.
The
Cherokee.
trifecta. I mean, that'd be the trifecta for South Florida.
Cherokee's still going to be the team to beat next year with that talent returning. All those guys juniors. Magwood turns around, hands it off to Lawrence. He's met it right at the line. Good play there by the Knights. Gain about 2. Clock still running here. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left to go in the 3rd.
Offensively, just haven't been able to get anything going. Lee County making some good adjustments there at halftime, but really it's a 7-0 quarter.
Right.
I mean, it's been very competitive. You're in the 2-minute mark of this 3rd period, but just not doing anything to cut into that lead, and the defense for River Ridge hanging in there, but they've just been on the field, this entire quarter.
Doing their best. Handoff this time to Simmons once again. He's going to be met in the backfield by a group of Knights, and they are fired up.
Yeah, still playing hard, a lot of emotion. I mean, that's the thing. These guys are going to fight to the end regardless of what the score is. Coach Collins in their ear saying, look, let's start over. It's 7-0 right now. Let's get this ball back, give it to our offense, get a chance to put up some points. I mean, the main thing you want to do is you want to make sure that when they ride on that bus home tonight, back down to Leesburg, they know they've been at a football game.
Right.
And that's the thing. And so, I think for these Knights, they want to make them within the confines of the game. They want to put some bruises on them back home.
4 wide receivers split out, rushing 4, and it's dumped off to McDowell. Makes one guy miss, but doesn't make Connor Gross mix, and that's a sure tackle. It'll be a gain of about 1 after all that. Keep him in the field of play. 4th down here. And on the other side of the field, it looks like they're going to run out the punt team.
Yeah. So once again, another win for the defense. I mean, really, defensively, haven't given up any points. Remember, that 7 points came off the punt return. So defensively, you've shut them out, here in this third quarter. You gave up 21 points in the first quarter of the ball game tonight.
Right.
But other than that, you've had a couple special teams touchdowns here, but defense is pitching
and
shutout.
A fake punt, and it's going to be no good. So stopped right at the 44-yard line. Not sure why you would even do that. You're up by 25.
They want to run the clock here. And, no mercy. No mercy, as we talked about. But they snapped it to the up back right there. And
now you're giving River Ridge a great field position, and you're also giving them a little bit of momentum.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Listen, there's a reason. I say this seems like every week when I question a coach's decision, there's a reason I'm up here talking and standing next to you.
Well, the one reason I would question it is because you just put it on tape for the next team
exactly.
for next week.
And you didn't need it. You didn't need that to happen.
You didn't need to do that necessarily in that situation. But
sends a man in motion. Jackson heads one-on-one. That's where Latham's looking, and he's going to dump it to him. Did he catch that? Wow, what a catch by Jackson Head, climbing the ladder. It'll be a gain of about 8.
Yep, good out route right there. Came back to the ball, bailed out his quarterback. Pretty good coverage, but he came back to the ball, had the awareness to come back to it. Latham put it out there, and Jackson was able to bring it down and get out of bounds over on the far sideline over there.
So as we mentioned, Jackson Head, a sophomore, 6'2", 205.
I mean, you think about the core of this football team being back next year. Amir Morrison,
Carson Latham, Jackson Head.
I mean, it's
Andrew Bingham. Micah Martineau. The big loss, let's see. And that was a loss of about 1 there on the run. And that'll take us to the end of the third quarter. So when we come back, we'll bring you 3rd and 3 as the Knights are down by 25 in this one. 30 seconds, and we'll be back. You're listening to the WLJA Game of the Week.
It's football time, and Brian Aaron at Woodstock Outlet has some great news for all the football fans.
Hey, y'all, we are glad to be a sponsor for these games and have a great time. Stay safe out there, and we just really do love being part of our community. And thankful we got the best customers a business could possibly have. And we built a new warehouse. We got it full for the pickup or delivery, so we're ready to go. Y'all come see us, and we sure do appreciate you.
Welcome back into the WLJA Game of the Week. Of course, it is River Ridge as they host Lee County. The score here 42-17 as there are zeros on the clock in the third quarter, and we'll get set for the fourth quarter here.
Yeah, this is a River Ridge team that obviously came into this game undefeated, hopes of being in the semifinals. They win the coin toss. They get past this one. They're here again next week. As you mentioned, they're playing their 6th home game, so they've enjoyed the comforts and confines of being at home. And tonight, lost the lead early, had done to them what they did to Rome last week, but then they tightened it up 21-17. But the last 4 minutes of the first half, the wheels fall off. Lee County gets a couple of touchdowns, but then you come out of the locker room and you basically battle to a 7-0 quarter. Defensively, you didn't give up any points. The points came off of a punt return. So if you're River Ridge, you got to feel good so far about the performance. I mean, I know coaches and players aren't into moral victories, but, if they can somehow get the ball and convert this third down right here, they're, on the Lee County side of midfield, and who knows, they get some points.
Don't want to interrupt you, but the white cap just went over to the teams and said, hey, it's the final quarter. Everybody play smart.
Let's chill.
And everybody just, all right, nothing stupid. So 4 wide receivers split out. Amir Morrison in the slot there, and good coverage out there. Was intended for Jackson Head, but number 18 had him all locked up. I believe that's Quavion Carter there on the coverage.
Yeah, just a nice job. Yeah. Well,
A.J. Patrick, excuse me, number 18 on the covers there.
We talked about Patrick earlier, 6
Yeah.
interceptions. I mean, he's definitely a guy, next level kind of guy, and we knew coming in he'd be a tough matchup right there. But, yeah, just broke on that ball perfectly, got a hand in there and broke it up. But 4th down, they'll go for it.
Why not? 3 wide receivers split out. Amir Morrison and Carson Latham. Riley Canes on the end of the side here, bringing the blitz. It was tipped, and it hit Riley Canes right in the hands and falls harmlessly to the turf, incomplete. And they'll turn it over on downs at the 38-yard line.
Yeah, tough play there. Obviously, you go for it on 4th down at that part of the field, but they had the play they wanted. Latham threw a nice ball back across his body into the middle of the field. Canes was there. There was a defender, got a hand up there. It may have distracted Riley just a little bit, but if you asked him, I know he'd say he should have had that one right there. And unfortunate because that would have extended the drive, but the ball goes over and 11:52 to play here in the season for River Ridge, and they, just trying to make some things happen, trying to get a turnover right here, maybe rip the ball away. And main thing you got to do is you got to get hands on him. You got to get hands on McDowell and bring him down.
Well, this is what they do the best, and that's run the football. McDowell's going to do a misdirection. It looks like that's to McDowell, as you mentioned, off of the handoff from Magwood, and he's off to the races. And he's in.
Take it to the house,
Yep.
yeah. Yep.
So it's 48-17, pinning the extra point on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard. Only one man he had to beat in the foot race was number 15, Hunter DeRizo, and he did.
Well, you got 2 number 5s that look and run very similar.
Yeah.
And River Ridge has been so good this year in tackling and getting players to the ball and getting them on the ground. They've had hands on him. They cannot get that South Carolina commit on the ground.
Yeah, just been a tough night, as we talked about, yards after contact. And that time they ran, as you said, Will, a little misdirection play there and just back to the near side.
Yeah, kick is up and through, and it is good. So 49-17 on the Sutherland Nissan scoreboard. We'll take a 30-second break. You're listening to WLJA, Cherokee County Game of the Week.
At Foundation Financial Insurance and Wealth Management, we believe that your insurance protection and wealth management plan go hand in hand. We start by shopping your insurance with highly rated companies to find you the best combination of price and protection. With that plan in place, we can then work with you to develop a tailored financial plan. Whether you need to save money on insurance or you need a full financial plan, call us at 678-880-9571 or come by 670 East Main Street in Canton for a no-obligation consultation today. Securities and advisory services offered through Packer Land Brokerage Services Incorporated, an unaffiliated entity, member FNIRA and SIPC.
Welcome back to the WLJ Game of the Week. I'm going to give it to Ronnie Cooper. He's got a stat here for us.
So your last 4 scores, 21-yard touchdown run for McDowell, 75-yard kickoff return for McDowell, 22-yard touchdown run for McDowell, 49-yard punt return for McDowell, and now a 68-yard touchdown run for McDowell.
Yeah, that's it's just a guy you don't want to beat you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for the Knights tonight, he has done that. And it's 11:40 left to go, 49-17 in favor of the County Trojans. And they'll kick it deep. Amir Morrison standing right at the sword that marks the I in the Knights in their end zone. A nice design there. We had the conversation earlier tonight. Who comes up with the names for the high schools? And a committee does that. And the Knights is a good name. So it's going to be muffed, but finally recovered there by the Knights out across the 22-yard line.
A little squib kick right there, kicking to the up back. They just ate it. And, situation right here where, coming out in the ball game, you got behind early, took their best shot, got within 4, as we talked about, a few minutes ago, and the wheels have just kind of fallen off since then. But, yeah, just have not had an answer tonight for, as you said, the South Carolina commit, and Juju McDowell has done it all year long. Nothing that people around the state of Georgia haven't seen. We knew coming in tonight he'd be tough, but the thing about him, kind of like a mirror, you got two backs that kind of mirror each other. That they get better as the game goes on.
Right.
And so in the first half they did a pretty good job overall of bottling him up, but here in the second half he's been able to run wild, and you can just tell the defense just wearing down now for River Ridge.
Yeah, 4 wide receivers split out. Amir Morrison in the backfield with Latham. Amir shakes the man, but he's slung down hard. Wow, what a tackle. Amir quick to his feet again. That's number 8 who wrapped him up there. And that was, or was that Jerron Willis, number 6?
Yeah.
That's Jerron Willis, excuse me. So great open field tackle by that young man. The thing about Lee County is they kind of took a page out of the Creekview book, running that 3-3 stack. Something we didn't see except out of Creekview. They ran kind of a 4-1-5, but a 3-3 stack. For people that don't know, when we're talking about defensive alignments, the first number is your down lineman, the second number is your linebackers, and then your third number is the amount of defensive backs you have. And normally when you have 5, you use a guy called a pony, who's kind of a safety linebacker hybrid. Latham loads up, finds that Jackson Head, and wow, he had it, but it was separated from the ball. Number 11, Quavion Carter, there we go. Finally get to call that young man's name, just separated him from the football. Falls harmlessly to the turf, 3rd and 13.
Yeah, great route right there by Jackson Head. Deep out route to the sideline. Latham put it right on the money, but safety comes up, jars the ball loose, unable to hold it long enough for it to be considered a catch, and now you're 3rd and 13. And, offensively, again, you've had some opportunities here. I mean, and it's just haven't been able to hang on to the ball. We saw it on the last drive there, Riley Keynes with the drop that would have extended the drive on the 4th down plays. So, again, kind of working out of a hole this time.
4 wide receiver split. Amir Morrison. It's a handoff to Morrison. Shifty guy. Still has some legs. 30. Real close to the first down marker. Looks like he'll get it. So move those chains enough for a first down. Amir Morrison, a gain of 13 on the carry.
That's what he brings. I mean, 3rd down, 13. You run the draw play right there. And, you're obviously thinking if you're Lee County, it's probably going to be something downfield. And you just got to chunk it up here. And they keep the ball on the ground. And, Morrison makes the guy miss, and he's just, so shifty, hits the sideline real well, gets to the outside, knew right where he needed to get to, and ran out of bounds just beyond the first down marker.
3 wide receiver split, the 2 running backs, Amir Morrison and Andrew Bingham. This time it looks like a handoff to Bingham, and he's going maybe 1.
Again, it's not about individual goals or records or what have you. You look at the ball game right now at 49-17, and it's basically out of reach at this point, it seems. But Amir Morrison, he's got to be getting close to that 2,000-yard mark there, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, 49-17, we do have that to pull for. They're going to have to give him the ball a couple more times. Now they're getting split out. But, yeah, it'd be great to see that young man get to 2,000.
Ronnie on the spot. What's he at so far, my friend? Amir?
121.
121, so he's going to need just a little bit more. He's at, we'll do the math here in a minute. Completed the head over the middle. 50, 40, foot race, 30. And he's going to be brought down from behind by number 9, Andrew Willis, the other safety, obvious of Quavion Carter. So Jackson Head with a big run all the way out to the 16-yard line. Move those chains. It'll be enough for a first down. Amir Morrison is 47 yards away from the 2,000-yard mark.
That's second longest play of the night right there. Jackson Head on a quick slant, split a couple defenders, and if he stumbled back around the 35 or 40, if he doesn't stumble right there, he might win that foot race, but kind of slowed his momentum just a little bit, and they were able to catch him inside the 20.
That'll be a 5 wide receiver split here. Amir Morrison in the slot. It's a screen play set up for him, and it just hit him right in the hands but falls incomplete. Carson Latham took the brunt of that hit. And the officials turning a blind eye to maybe a roughing the passer as he got hit in the face mask, but nonetheless, falls incomplete. 2nd and 10 here from the 16-yard line.
Yeah, 2nd down and 10 right here. Clock stops now. Again, 30-point deficit or 32, but 30 points is your running clock deficit,
well,
but I guess
they do a running clock in
the playoffs.
playoffs.
Yeah, and it typically has to be when the quarter starts. So anyway, which it wasn't that deficit until early this quarter.
It is a handoff to Amir, and he fights forward. Gains about 1, so 3rd and 9, right at the 15-yard line.
Yeah, this offensive line still pushing guys around. I mean, that's the thing coming in. I mean, you got guys over on the other side that are, that don't get pushed around. I mean, you watch this team on tape, and very rarely do they ever get shoved around. I mean, these are the guys that do the shoving. And so this offensive line, all things considered, has held up pretty well tonight. I mean, we haven't seen Carson Latham on his back much. Now, granted, he's gotten the ball out of his hands quick, but they've been able to do some things effectively here tonight against a really, really good defensive unit.
10 seconds left on the play clock, 8:42 left on the game clock. Only rushing 3. He surveys, and there's a flag comes in late. Jackson Head caught it, but we'll have to check the flag. If it does stand, Jackson Head has his first touchdown of the night.
Yeah, I think
but the flag came, it looks like a hold to me. Now, they are going over to check it with Coach Collins, which makes me think they're going to ask whether they want to decline. It is against Lee County, so it is a touchdown. So Andrew Jackson, my goodness, might be a president one day, but not so far. Right. Good Lord. Jackson Head. I don't know where Andrew Jackson came from. Maybe the first name there. Lord have mercy.
Well, Andrew Bingham and Jackson Head. You put those two together, there you go.
I guess.
Well, that was just a great ball that time, and it wasn't there initially. They wanted to run just a straight kind of go, little fade there, but again, Latham kind of had to scramble out of the pocket because the route wasn't open. Jackson Head did a great job of deking the defender and then coming back towards the sideline. They're making a second move, extending the play with his legs, did Latham, and put the ball on the money.
The kick is up and through, and it is good. 49-24. We'll take a 30-second break, and we'll be back. You're listening to WLJA Game of the Week.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Sosby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Sosby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
Welcome back into the Cherokee County Game of the Week. Our score here, 49-24, 8 minutes and 36 seconds left here to go. Ronnie on the spot. Ronnie Cooper, you got the drive summary there for us, my friend?
Yeah, that was 8 plays, 77 yards, 4 rushes for 14, 2 of 4 passing, 63, all to Jackson Head, and took 3 minutes and 3 seconds.
All right.
So, looking at it right now, Will, 24 points. That's the most that anybody has scored on Lee County all year long, with the exception of the loss against Lowndes, 38-13. But in all 10 other games, 10, 11 other games they've played.
And Lee County calls a timeout here. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, 21 points they gave up last week to Brunswick.
Yep.
But 24 here tonight to River Ridge, the most amount of points. And I know we're, silver linings and everything,
right.
And, at this point. But, hey, that's something to build on. I mean, that just goes to show you that this River Ridge Knight team belongs, in the ball game here as they continue to fight. It's been real easy for these guys to hang their head out in the locker room. But, they've been able to battle right here. And if they put another touchdown on the board, it would be an even second half.
One thing I like that Coach Collins has instilled in his guys is you win every play and you win every quarter, and they break it down to segments. You don't have to win the season. 11-0 is a great feat for them, and it's obviously the best in program history and making it this far. And nobody thought the Knights were going to make it this far. I remember we did the preseason show at the Tavern. We were thinking, you made the call. They're going to beat their first county opponent. We were all like, wait a minute. And then they went undefeated.
Little did we know they'd sweep their county opponents.
The only county team they didn't face was Cherokee, which I think for most Cherokee County fans sitting here thinking now, that'd be the game of the year. If you could watch the River Ridge Knights play the Cherokee
maybe
Warriors.
we try to make that happen. Make it happen. But,
I think,
the thing is, Coach Collins, you can tell he's building that culture because we interviewed Jackson Head and Brian Bradley on Wednesday, and they echoed the same thing that we hear from Collins each week. So it's a culture thing now, and it's instilled in this program.
As we mentioned, Coach Collins in his second season here, and it's a onside kick. It was a good onside attempt, but it is fielded cleanly by Quavion Carter, the strong safety, 6'4", 200 pounds.
Yep. The penalty right there pushed the ball up, so, go ahead and take the shot there, and you don't really give up anything. This 37-yard line is about where they've started, if not better than that. So, 8.5 to play here. So what do you want to accomplish? I mean, obviously, if you're River Ridge, you're looking at next season. You're going to have a lot of these guys back next year. You want to go out here with something positive to build on. You want to let Lee County know that, they've been in a football game. You don't want them to walk all over you and give up any more points. You want to keep these guys under 50, which is something that a lot of teams haven't been able to do this year. So, again, big opportunity right here for this River Ridge defense to play out the string.
See what they're able to do here. It's a handoff to Preston. Met hard. And finally brought down after a gain of about 3. One guy that's been incredibly quiet, which may be by design, just of the play calling, but Brian Bradley, we haven't mentioned his name tonight.
Well, and I thought about that right before you said it, actually, and they're running away from him here a little bit. He's been fairly quiet. These bookend tackles, though, do a great job of really holding things up, and to the credit of Chauncey Magwood, he's gotten the ball out of his hands quickly when they have thrown the football, so they've kind of taken Bradley out of the game by the game plan and just kind of running the ball between the tackles here tonight with him being out on the edge, kind of organically kind of missing him here a little bit tonight.
Let's see what they're able to do. They send 2 guys in motion. That's Tyrus Washington and Debo Sanders. Slaps his hands it off to that strong side. And I believe that was McDowell on the carry as he's out across to the 49-yard line. So move those chains. It'll be enough for a first down. 7 minutes and 41 seconds left here to go as time stops for them to readjust the first down marker.
It really is crazy. And you talked about the preseason kickoff show with Cedarwood Tavern. What a great partnership that's been. And, of course, Vaughn with us here tonight. But, yeah, thinking about 11-0, we thought we would see some good things out of this team this year. But little did we know we'd see, to the level that we saw. It's truly remarkable.
Confidence. And I think they were confident, or obviously Lassiter, they come out and send a message. But then week over week, that confidence continued to build.
Yep. Right. First win over Woodstock 22-17, and then a win over Etowah here 38-7. This is a handoff to Lawrence up the middle. He's met by Aiden Bruton right at the first down marker, and it looks like it'll be enough, so move the chains. But, yeah, first of all, a big shout-out to, I know we mentioned it while we were eating our pregame meal today, but Dr. Murgis at the county office and Tanya Sebring as well, and obviously all the athletic directors. We didn't think we would get this far. I think if we had to be honest about it, we didn't think we'd be sitting here 15 weeks later from when we started the season on September the 2nd with the Corky Kell game. And the fact that we're here now is we're extremely grateful to Cherokee County and the way that they make things work for us. And we'll tell you more about that after this play. 2nd and 1, they marked him a yard short. Faked the motion but kept it to the right-hand side. Magwood hands it off to Preston there. And he's rumbling forward, gets the first down by a good bit, and they'll mark him down at the 36-yard line as River Ridge will make a few substitutions, so move the chains. But I think, all of us at WLJA are extremely grateful for everything that everybody's done for us. And there's nothing, we didn't think we would get this far. And the fact that we're here and everybody's still healthy, and the fact that Cherokee County football is still being talked about, obviously the fact that River Ridge is kind of that Cinderella story really helps as well, a team that has struggled so long in their careers. And these guys, most of them 3 or 4 year starters.
Yeah, and every year it's been somebody different. We've followed Woodstock. We followed, playoff runs for a lot of different teams over the years.
Preston off the right-hand side, and he's going to gain enough for the first. It's going to be marked about a yard short there.
Last year it was Cherokee, as we talked about, went on the road with them to Archer, that second-round game. This year, River Ridge. So, the county schools, and I know this is not, intentional by any means, but from a broadcast standpoint, it's been nice because every year it's been a different school. We got to see the Creekview Sequoia quarterfinal run, a couple years ago. As we mentioned, Woodstock the year before that made the run. We've seen Cherokee now. We've seen River Ridge. So, it really has been a situation where all of our schools have provided us with a lot of great moments, and they've really spread it out over these last 4 years. So, you got to think, well, okay, who's up next year,
Yeah.
So
we'll tell you all about that on the Sosby Funeral Home postgame show coming up. We got 5 minutes left to go in this one. Preston on the run again, out across the 20, and he falls forward to about the 15. Little extracurriculars going on out there by the Knights, but settles down.
Well, methodically moving the ball here, it's obvious. Long bus ride home for Lee County. Big trip here tonight back through Atlanta and down to South Georgia. And so they want to get on that bus as quick as they can. We've already hit the 10 o'clock hour, basically.
Well, it's been a long game, with all things considered. Of course, after our wrap-up here, we'll go back to the Holiday Lights at Veterans Park as well. So it's right at 10 o'clock now. So normally we're talking about, right at 10 o'clock. We're finishing up here. But there have been a lot of discussions going on. Once again, the officiating has left something to be desired, and Coach Collins wants to take a timeout so we can rag on the refs for a little bit longer. So I think that
Asa may want to. Does he want a station ID? Maybe a good time for him. It's top of the hour.
Hey, Asa, how about a station ID?
You're listening to WLJA FM 101.1 and WLJA HD1 LJ, Jasper, Canton, Woodstock, and all of North Georgia. Thanks, Will.
Thank you, buddy. Dave pulled out his phone to show me it was 10 o'clock and goes, we hit the 10 o'clock hour. And I looked at him and said, yeah, we're normally out of here by now. And he's like, you want to give Asa station ID? For folks that aren't aware of the radio ins and outs.
It's a radio thing, yeah.
Right at 10 o'clock or right at the top of the hour, we're supposed to do a station identification. If you watch TV and you see at the bottom, they will have the same thing. They have their station identification, but they do it over a visual prospect. For us, since we are an audio-only medium, that's how we do it here as well. So just keep everybody at the FCC happy with us and make sure we can stay on air for you and hopefully bring you some more football action.
Yeah. It's been a great year, though. You look back, and I know we're a few minutes away from this one, time out on the field right here. But 4.5 to play, 49-24. Lee County going to move on to the semifinals where they, of course, won the state championship back-to-back years, fell short last year in this same round in the quarterfinals to Decula, but obviously reloaded, back at that championship level. Got a tough bracket. Vaughn was talking earlier. You got Valdosta, Carrollton. You got a lot of games playing out tonight.
It's been the story for most of our season, it seems like, and there's a lot of good teams around here that are good at recruiting. And Lee County reloading, as we mentioned. So turned around, handoff this time to the left side. Simmons cuts it back in the middle, and Brian Bradley will get his name called there. Finally gets a tackle.
You know, I had a fun fact on the podcast this week. The round 1 6A average score was 42-11. Round 2, 42-10. You know, all games were close at the half, fairly close at the half. They're all opened up pretty wide margins now, besides Westlake and Allatoona 27-24 in the fourth. That's the only close game we have going on in 6A right now.
Well, the Westlake Allatoona winner will have to head on the road and head down to Lee County. So the coin flip determined. The top of the bracket would get the home field advantage, and Lee County and River Ridge are playing for that home field advantage. It's a handoff to Debo Roberts, the 5'11", 310-pound fullback, and the crowd goes crazy on the Lee County side, and a flag comes in late.
Yeah, they gave him the ball. You know, the crowd was going nuts because they gave him the ball. He didn't get to run the ball too much there. He didn't get very far with it, but there was a late flag that came in there, but we'll see what it is.
Yeah. So obviously it's on the far side of the field, and there's a lot of action over there. We can't see what's happening. Is it after the play? Personal foul against Lee County. So the 15 yards will back them up with 3 minutes and 44 seconds left here to go. So I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot to be excited about for 2021 in high school football. A lot of retention for River Ridge, as we mentioned. They're most likely to stay right where they are and at the top of the discussion. You talk about climbing the ladder in a hurry. 3-7 last year, and they lost to Sequoia just barely, and then they lost to Creekview on a goal line stand 14-9. And then this year, for them to go 5-0 in the county, 6-0 in the region champs, undefeated up until this point, Elite 8 appearance, all these firsts for this team, and you have to feel like they're going to be right back there. Obviously Cherokee, we mentioned just today, A.J. Swan, Keith Adams Jr., Darius Harshaw all getting offers. Toby Thompson as well in the defensive line, a good guy over there. There's going to be a lot of retention for them as well. Expect them to kind of reload and get reset. And then Creekview, historically very good football team as well. Sequoia has a few things to figure out. Going to have a lot of graduations going on over there. But Matthew Traynor is a great quarterback. Only a sophomore. Excited to see him grow as a young man. Woodstock is going to be the biggest question mark, I think, for most people. Them and Etowah. Woodstock obviously parting ways with Coach Buddy after he's been involved with the program for 20-plus years, head coach for 11. It'll be interesting to see what they're able to do with that. And then Etowah, obviously, Coach Kemper is keeping his position over there. We'll have to figure some things out after a 1-9 season where they beat Alpharetta and sent Cherokee on the road, in which I'm sure that Coach Shaw and Coach Kemper, when they play, he'll have to say, hey, I appreciate that last year. Sure did appreciate you sending us on a bus to North Gwinnett. But nonetheless, here we go in this game. Two wide receivers split out. Debo, the lead fullback. Brian Bradley was the first one to meet Preston, force him back inside. A flag comes into the back of the field late. We'll have to check that one, but Brian Bradley, the first one to contact.
Well, one of the other debates this year behind the scenes and between students is River Ridge played every county team this year besides Cherokee.
Yep.
Those were the two strongest teams in the county. The good news is they both bring a lot back, and we'll get to see them play in the preseason next year. So we'll get to see those two teams kind of take care of it on the field to begin the 2021 season.
So they have each other scheduled.
Yes, they do.
There we go.
So, and the interesting thing is for WLJA this year, we had a lot of firsts. We had our first Wednesday game because we got to cover the Corky Kell with Cherokee and Carver.
Yep.
And then think about that. That was a 90-degree day. We were burning up out there. Kickoff at 5:30. And then we flipped it around, watched the first matchup between Creekview and Etowah over there. Real nail-biter in that one. And then it wasn't long after that. You're talking about the difference between our first flex game where we got to pick the final game of the season, and that happened to be Milton and Cherokee for the de facto region championship. We felt like that would be the best, a timeout from Lee County here. The other side of that coin is we got to watch, Coach Kemper take over a Etowah team that had plenty of success, but a lot of graduations over there. Dalton Miller, Jackson Mans, all those guys that we mentioned, graduations over there. Woodstock with a very different look. We'll have a very different look next year depending on the coaching situation. Just a lot of firsts for us. And obviously here in this one, first for December football. And that's because the season got backed up 2 weeks, but we also had our first bye week as well. And that 2 weeks that got backed up, this is normally your Thanksgiving week game. And that was the big thing with Creekview and Sequoia, as they were able to play their Thanksgiving games in 2018. This year, all the playoff teams got their Thanksgiving games for just making the playoffs. So Creekview, Cherokee, and obviously River Ridge were our playoff teams a lot of contention around the fact that Sequoia was not a playoff team, and hopefully in a non-COVID year, which hopefully they have this thing figured out by next year when we step into the box and start thinking about things in July and August. That'll be something that people have figured out, and that's all we can hope for at least.
Yeah. I'm just wondering why it's taken so long to play this final 3.5 minutes. We have literally been sitting here talking about stuff as if we were in the pregame show. They've run one play in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Well,
I'm not sure what's going on here, but
so this is going to be a 45-yard field goal. So let's see. This is Collins, number 88 for Lee County, on to attempt this one. The kick is up. Wow, what a kick. And it is no good. I believe it was just off to the left. It looked like it had enough leg. So number 88 for them is Alex Collins. I don't believe he's done any. He has. He's their field goal kicker. He's one of 4 now for the year. He was the one that attempted it earlier with a 37-yard long. And with all that being said, it'll turn over on downs. So.
Yeah, and I mean it's been kind of a back and forth game, here in the second half, and that's the second missed field goal. As we talked about, I mean, for Lee County, they're looking forward. They're wanting to work out that kicking game because, if a game comes down, a semifinal game or championship game comes down to a field goal, they want to make sure they have all that worked out. So it hadn't been perfect. I mean, there's definitely some things that Coach Dean Fabrizio, some coaching moments and some things they'll be able to look at this week and say, hey, we weren't perfect tonight by any means.
Pass for Latham, loads up, was looking in the way of Preston Cox. That one falls harmlessly to the turf. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, River, that you'd like to see the Knights put another one on the board, if nothing else. I'd like to see Amir break a long one here.
Go over
2,000.
Is you have to wonder if there's somebody up in the box signaling down to the folks on the sideline saying, hey, look, he's only, just a handful of yards away. But
he is on the sideline.
He's not in the game right now.
Yeah, I think he's done for the night.
So they'll try and air it out here with Carson Latham. I believe that's Tyler Carter in the backfield with him, and that's who gets the call there. So he gains about 3, 3rd and 7.
Yeah, what a year though. I mean, you talk about Amir Morrison, he and Keith Adams Jr. Cherokee, leading 6 and 7A respectively in rushing for much of the season, and it's just awesome that the highlights and you think about the kinds of athletes we have. We talk about the college recruiting for Lee County and everything, but it's just awesome that Cherokee County is getting the attention it has. We've seen a couple different times over the last couple of years that GPB and some of the state media. Making their way into Cherokee County to broadcast games. It says a lot about the level of talent.
It does. Growing in a hurry. This one's intended out to Riley Caines, and he gets it completed out to the sideline. And there's going to be a late flag there from number 6 as he was tackled out of bounds. An interesting point is that when we got the stats from Lee County and their defensive statistics, they actually keep a point system for big hits, effort plays, chasing, pass defense, interceptions, touchdowns, all this good stuff. And one of the negative ones is penalties, and that's where you looked and saw that Lee County is a pretty dirty team as far as keeping laundry off the field.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. I mean, hadn't been clean by any means this year as far as the penalties and some of the mistakes, but because of the firepower they have, the weaponry, they've been able to overcome that. And so, but it's one of those things. I mean, as we talk about, Dean Fabrizio has been there 12 years. This is his only, head coaching stint. He's been in the game a long time, but, over 100 career wins, back-to-back state championships in 17 and 18, is well respected around the state. Has done an excellent job with the Lee County program, as we talked about, out of Leesburg, that hadn't been a winning team until he got there.
And Lee brings the house, and they get it. And there's going to be another personal foul.
Roughing the passer.
Yeah. And Lee County, I've got to keep my cool here. I mean, just it's embarrassing.
Still
Lee County
coming
should be
after him.
embarrassed.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Still coming after him. So.
We asked Coach Fabrizio, what is South Georgia football? Because you hear Gwinnett and you hear Metro Atlanta, and then with Colquitt and Valdosta and Lowndes, it's that mantra, that South Georgia. Some of that is the physicality, maybe a little dirtiness, but just in your face from the time we got here, just the jawing, and you see Woodstock and River Ridge play. You don't see that, so that kind of goes into that definition of South Georgia football.
Yeah, it does. But you have to do within the rules, and that's what they don't do. So very, very sad. So they're going to bring a whole bunch again, and that's going to be a pass interference against number 28 as he met Riley Caines early. So, and Riley Caines is shaken up. So, but he gets to his feet after that. So That's Lee County's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. And I know Dean Fabrizio is a good coach, but if he can't control his players, that's sorry. Very sorry against this team.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically 3 penalty flags in a row here inside the final couple minutes, you know. So, again,
yeah.
You know.
And listen, you're up by 25 points, and I know you want to play physical, and you don't give up till the whistle, and that's perfectly fine, but play within the rules. And that's the thing is, yeah, it was a pass interference call, but it wasn't just the pass interference call. He hit him up in the upper back, so he wasn't even trying to play the ball. So
yeah, and the drawing beyond the play too.
Exactly.
You know, is as well. But you know, hey, I mean, you know, here's the thing. I mean, there, you know, if you're River Ridge right here, 205, you'd love nothing more than to put this ball in the end zone. I mean, you put up 31 points against a team that may very well go on to win the state championship. You know, that says a lot. And so I think that, you know, obviously this is a River Ridge team that's motivated here with 2:05 to play, even though they're down.
Yeah. Well, it also helps when you keep hitting everybody after the whistle. And that's completed to Preston Cox as he's met in the middle by a whole bunch of Lee County Trojans, but he gets it to the 10-yard line, so they're well within striking distance here. 1st and goal with 1 minute, 59 seconds left to go.
You know, you score a touchdown right here. You get an onside kick, score another touchdown. It may be the end of the ball game at that point, but, you know, you get on the bus and you drive 4.5 hours, and you got coaches in your ear that whole way talking about, you know, guys, you know, we only won, you know, it's 49-38 or something. You know, we gave up a lot of points here.
They should be in their ear anyway for being such a sorry competition here at the end. And Latham slings it out over the middle, and it's incomplete. That was intended to Riley Canes out there.
Number 11.
So,
way beyond Carter on the coverage.
You know, when you think about the next level of football, and you think about the teams that are fired up, and you think about the teams that do it well, you know, teams that win, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, they're very disciplined. You know, that's the difference. And I think that, you know, I'm not that familiar with Lee County. I couldn't tell you how they do it. But South Georgia football obviously is a lot of talent. And we'll get to this after Latham surveys. And there's going to be, and they don't call that he was hit right in the face mask. This is embarrassing. I mean, have you ever seen anything like that?
Shot was directly to the helmet. I mean, directly to his helmet.
I mean, the GHSA should be ashamed.
Yeah.
Genuinely. And they're just trying to finish the game. So, and I know we're ragging on this, and it sounds like I'm being a sore loser or something like that. And that's fine. You know, Lee County's won this game. It's not anything like that. And even with the blown calls from the officials, Lee County has won the football game. They are a much better football team. But to end this game, you got to keep your guys safe. Fake it to Preston Cox, rolls out to the outside. Jackson heads in the back of the end zone. Touchdown caught, if they do mark it. And it is a touchdown. So Lee County gives up another late score. It'll be 30-49, pending the extra point.
You know, part of this is Coach Collins telling his team, wanted to see his team. Yeah, the scoreboard was lopsided, whether it should be or not. You know, some fluke stuff here and there. But, you know, fight, show me fight, because you got a lot of kids coming back. And now they've seen this Lee County team. He can take that. I mean, 49-31 here if the extra point's good. You take that into next year going, guys, you went toe-to-toe with a team that's one of the best over the last 5 years in Georgia.
Kick is up, and it's through. And that was number 91 for River Ridge. So Scotty Rutherford did not do the extra kicking duty there. Number 91, Santiago Luenza, who is the sophomore kicker. And that's one thing that we should mention is that Scotty Rutherford is a senior, so he'll be graduating. So maybe trying to figure out the kicking situation after the fact. But a good hold, good kick, and it is through. So 49-31. And if you're River Ridge, you kind of consider the fact that they might go for an onside here just to see what they can do.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you get an onside kick, you go down and score a touchdown right here. You've equaled the most points they've allowed all year, including that loss to Lowndes. Lowndes put 38 up against them, you know, and we all know how good Lowndes is, you know, as a bigger school. So, you know, for River Ridge to come in here and put up 31 tonight, you know, with all the talking that's going on there, and apparently we've seen a lot of people clearing on that side because supposedly the officials have told the band to leave. There are a lot of folks along the sideline there. They were told to leave. So that side is really cleared out. It's not because they're headed to the parking lot. It's because they were told by the officials they had to leave and everything. So, again, it's been a lot of John tonight, as we've talked about, and it's been chippy. It's been one of those things. But, yeah, I mean, I think for River Ridge, I mean, staying motivated here with a minute 25 left. This game is obviously it's a lot longer, as we've talked about, than a lot of the games that we've been at. We've had games where we were home by this time. Yeah. So a little bit late night here. Fortunately, we've had great weather. It's been a nice night, a little cool, but it feels good out here for especially a couple weeks before Christmas, as you would expect it to be. But let's see if they can get something. See if they can get the big bounce right here, maybe.
Well, Santiago Loenza will be back out. And he is going to do a quick little kick. They're going to have to let it go 10 yards, and they do, and it's picked up by number 11 and returned for a little bit by Lee County. But he'll return it all the way up to the 36-yard line, where they'll take over with 1:23 left here to go. And you would expect that they will just knee it out here, but you never know. They do live to play next week, and it's Lee County.
You never know. But, yeah, I mean, regardless, it's been a great season for River Ridge. The Knights, again, their only loss this year coming tonight. I mean, 11-0 coming into this ball game. And a lot of folks, of course, are still hanging out here and really celebrating their team, and should. I mean, it's been a remarkable run.
I expect at the end of this one we'll get a standing ovation from the crowd here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially for a River Ridge fan base that has been hungry for success and has often been looked at as the little brother. And, I know the old saying, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Well, they beat all the men, and they belong in the top of the Cherokee County discussion from here on out, and they're not going to go to victory formation here. So they do send number 16 in at quarterback, getting a little reps here. Preston is still the run. Never mind. Number 39 will be in to give you the run here. So number 39 for the Trojans is Marique McWhorter, senior back, 5'8", 161. And the Caden Wilson is the senior wide receiver who will be playing quarterback, 5'8", 140. So a little bit different look here for these guys. Excuse me, that's Luke Addison who is taking the snaps. He's 6'5", 170. I didn't think he looked 5'6". So also playing fullback, number 40. That's Cade Maxwell, 208 pounds at 5'8". So two wide receivers split here, turned around, hands off. McWhorter, as you mentioned, haven't called his name yet tonight, but we do now. Clock runs 30 seconds, and they shouldn't have to snap it again.
Yeah, a lot of depth. I mean, as we talked about, they brought a lot of players up. A lot of buses, and they double up just about on some of the numbers. But yeah, it's I think that's probably the final snap right there, as you said. Standing ovation from the home side here tonight.
Thanking their Knights for a fantastic season, as we do as well. We'll take a 2-minute break, and we'll break it all down for you on the Sosby Funeral Home postgame show. You're listening to WLJA FM 101.1.
There's been so much talk about distracted driving, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Well, we'd rather you be sick of hearing about it than lose your life doing it. The caring staff with Sosby Funeral Home in Canton reminds you that we all have to go sometime, but don't rush it. Wait your turn and don't drive distracted. Keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and make sure you stay alert and arrive alive. Drive safely and help us protect our teens. They're the only future we've got. Brought to you by Sosby Funeral Home, honoring life from 191 Jarvis Street in Canton.
It's football time, and Brian Aaron at Woodstock Outlet has some great news for all the football fans.
Hey, y'all, we glad to be a sponsor for these games, and have a great time. Stay safe out there, and we just really do love being part of our community, and thankful we got the best customers a business could possibly have. And we built a new warehouse. We got it full for the pickup or delivery, so we're ready to go. Y'all come see us, and we sure do appreciate you.
I want to make sure that your money outlives you and that you don't outlive your money. Hi, I'm Dave Garner, your local Woodman Life representative. When I'm not broadcasting, I'm doing my best as a poverty prevention specialist to help protect families from financial hardship. Call or visit me online today and see how I can help you and your family stay protected through needs-based life insurance and retirement options. Insurance protection, financial security. That's Woodman Life, standing strong for over 130 years.
Game on! Football's back, and we're celebrating at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County. Get game-winning offers right now. Drive the best-selling 2020 Nissan Rogue, or check out the redesigned 2020 Sentra. If you try it, you'll buy it. They're that good, fun, and affordable. Catch the savings now before they're gone. Only at the all-new Sutherland Nissan Cherokee County, across from the Holly Springs Walmart. Online at NissanNorthAtlanta.com. Remember, if it doesn't say Sutherland, you paid too much.
North Cross was for real.
North Cross
People thought they were fake.
Welcome in to the Sosby Funeral Home postgame show. I'm your host, Will Cooper, joined alongside Vaughn Brown. Ronnie on the spot. Ronnie, you got some final numbers here for us, my friend?
Yeah, so for the game, Lee County, 60 plays, 384 total yards, 39 rushes for 292, 10 of 16 passing, 92 yards, 14 first downs, 12 penalties for 135 yards, and 24 minutes and 3 seconds of possession. Exact same number of plays for River Ridge, 60, 302 total yards, 26 rushes for 126, 17 of 30 passing for 176, 10 first downs, 6 penalties, 50 yards, 23-57 time of possession. Probably the only stat that matters on players is it was the Caleb McDowell show. 11 rushes, 131 yards, 2 receptions, 11 yards, and 134 return yards with 2 touchdowns. He was basically the game.
He ended up with 5 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, let's see.
Because I know kickoffs.
That is correct.
Yeah,
the last 5 scores were his.
All right, Caleb McDowell show.
Yep.
So Vaughn Brown, with all that being said, partner, our 2020 campaign will come to a close here at the Ridge, and off 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 here at the Ridge, and